Yes, people, big up to all of you, and welcome back to Chelsea's Perspective. Welcome back to another match review show slash Chelsea News, live Chelsea News, because the plan is to address some news items we'll have lined up, some of them not really news, and then we'll go into the match preview, Chelsea 2, Blackburn Rovers 0, which means we'll go into the quarterfinal stages of the EFL Cup. Excellent news for us, and hopefully we take that confidence, the confidence from that win into the Tottenham game on Monday. Before we continue, sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself. And again, please do not forget to drop a like on the stream. Let's get into it. Yes, people, big up to all of you. And once more, thank you all for finding the time to join the show. Let me say hello to those of you in the chat before we move on, because that's how we operate here. And it says, Oscar, big up to you too, Oscar. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you joining. And that was a few hours ago. And the man is saying, I see, no, Pochettino get it right. Okay, I'm not sure that's a big jump it up. Oscar, hello to you too, and thank you for finding the time to join. Big up to you too. Tob S, my brother from what's the Kenyan zip code again? From Kenya, but I appreciate you, my African bro. I hope you're doing well. Kopama and Kunku. Again, what a player that kid is, and I'm glad we signed him. I didn't question his signing one bit. I was expecting us to sign some other players, but the moment we signed him, I didn't complain much because I knew before time that he was a good player. Enzo has still got it, and yo, Oscar. The great Oscar, here to you too. Hello to you too. Kimso, I haven't seen you in a few days. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. This excuse me, particular afternoon for me. I hope you're doing well. Thank you, Dad. Are we going to lose next week? I wouldn't go to the extent of telling you what will happen, but I'd say we're not. I don't think we'll lose. Remember, we're playing a big team. We're playing one of the top four. You can say, yeah, at least top four teams. And when that's the case, we play well. Except if Postecoglou comes into the game with a much you can say pragmatic, with a much more pragmatic approach than he's known to deploy. Maybe he wants to sit deep and just get a win. Because he wants to win the Premier League for the first time for Tottenham. But let's see what happens. Scheme, so nice to see you. I hope school is going well. Let's see what else we have here. Vic, nice to see you, brother. Fingers crossed. We'll find out what happens. And I want to take this opportunity to appeal to those of you who are watching, and for one reason or the other, you're not able to participate in the chat. Just know that we appreciate you. And that's because you watching alone does go a long way. But we want you to do us one favor, one tiny beauty favor, and that is to please take a second to drop a like on the stream, because the likes do go a long way. And the more likes we garner, the more the YouTube algorithm will be triggered and be forced to push the stream to more people who be interested in the in the items we'll have lined up here. Let's see. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. We have John Gorman. There's different games that fires are like, okay, that's the proof. But John, more importantly, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go along. We appreciate you all. We're always playing in Newcastle next. I'm not too concerned. The quarterfinals of the EFL Cup. I'm not too concerned. One of the big boys now, and they don't usually sit deep, but you can say the more pragmatic than a lot of the big, you can say, top 6 or top 8 teams in the Premier League. But that's why we'll move on. Let's start addressing the items we have lined up. And the first item here, I would advise you not to be too concerned. I've always said that. I don't think at this point that the club will give up on Reece James, and that's because he's still young, and that's because they believe in him. He's the captain, and also overall, I think they believe he'd overcome the recurring injuries right now. But I get it. Right now, it'd be you can say, yeah, it makes sense to argue that he's injury prone. But I don't think that's the case at this point. This particular report is saying, and that's Vince is quoting Team Talk saying Real Madrid are hot on the trail of Chelsea captain Reece James and hope that he can become their next Jude Bellingham. Unfortunately, I don't think they'll be able to sign him. Let me just be clear here. First of all, he's on a very long-term contract. And for them to sign him, I think Chelsea will be asking for something north of £100 million. And do I think Madrid will be willing to pay that much money for a player? You can argue they're probably not too sure whether he stays fit or gets injured again. After you can say they'd be probably now be suffering PTSD from Hazard's interest, in my opinion. But I hope he recovers and stays fit. That's my biggest concerns. My biggest concern for Reece James. Yeah, I hope it's not something that he comes back, play 1, 2, 3. By the time we get to the fourth game, he gets injured again. I hope that's not the case. But let's say if you're in the chat, I want to hear your opinion. What do you think? What do you think about the news of Real Madrid hot on the trail of Chelsea captain Reece James and hope that he can become their next Jude Bellingham? For me, I think this is just absolute horse doo-doo. From Team Talk, and I don't blame what's his name. I don't blame Vince for quoting them, because what he does is he aggregates news and presents it and present them to Chelsea fans. So let's move on to the next item we have lined up. I'm trying the best I can to knock out all the news items we have lined up so we can get into the match review exercise. 12 likes, people, and we're just 9 minutes into the show. We should be doing better than that. I don't know. It just, when I was watching this, it looked as if somebody was just clicking the like button off and on. And that's not helpful. If anything, that will make Google come across the Google algorithm as if we're trying to cheat with the likes. But that's, by the way, we'll move on. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. Let's move on to the next item following this one immediately. Item here is more of an assurance from the transfer guru himself, Fabrizio Romano. And the report reads, we always hear rumors about Real Madrid and Reece James, but it's important to also hear Chelsea's message that he is a very important player. He's been unlucky with injuries, and they consider his potential very high. Still, the owners, board, Pochettino, all want him to be an important part of the project. This is why he's his captain. Also, the players' focus is on Chelsea. He said that 1,000 times. I think he's Chelsea through and through. Talk about Chelsea players that are Chelsea through and through. He's one. Actually, he epitomizes that, in my opinion. So I'm not too concerned about rumors linking him with a move to Real Madrid, and the fact this is believable. This actually will be believable to most people, given the fact that he was on. I think I wouldn't say, I can't quite recall what happened on the day that Real Madrid won a game, something similar to him congratulating the Real Madrid players. And you must remember that he's friends with some of them, Vinicius Jr. and the others, Antonio Rudiger also. To me, I'm not too concerned about that. More importantly, I'm not sure Real Madrid will be willing to pay how much I believe Chelsea will be asking. Because if you ask me, I say Chelsea will be asking something north of £100 million. And that's because he's on a long-term contract. And if they can wait until he runs down his contract to around, let's say, 2 years or 3 at least, that's when they get him for cheap. But still, not even cheap, actually. It will be something close to £100 million. But that's, by the way, let's hear you if you're in the chat. The question is, what do you make of the news linking Reece James with a move to Real Madrid? I want to hear you. And Vic here is saying nothing has stopped James from moving to Real Madrid. To be honest, I don't want to sell him now. But if I run Chelsea, I won't block a massive offer from Real Madrid. I get it, but it depends. If he's fit, if he stays fit and is firing on all cylinders, helping us win games, even if Real Madrid comes with £100 million, I don't think Chelsea will sell him. Because right now we don't even have the luxury of losing a single of one of our best players. If that happens, we'd be in serious trouble. But let's find out what happens. It's not up to me to decide. So let's hear you if you're in the chat. The question is, what do you make of the rumors of linking Chelsea captain Reece James with a move to Real Madrid. I think it's absolute horse to, and you have to also pay attention to this particular source here being mentioned, which is Team Talk. I don't trust them, honestly. But that's fine. We're moving from Vicky now. We have this one here. Big up to you too, Chelsea Mitchell. Boy, always nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. And if you're in the chat from Vic, Kim, so all of you in the chat, hope as if you haven't, please click on the three dots to Chelsea Mitchell Boyd's name. Click and go check on YouTube, subscribe to check out YouTube channel and subscribe to his YouTube channel. He deserves more subscribers. And if you enjoy listening to the panelists we'll have you on Chelsea Perspective, believe me, you will love Chelsea Mitchell Boys YouTube channel. So we'll move on to the next item. We have line to keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. I appreciate you all finding the time to join. Let's move on to the next item. And please, if you are the one, you can say clicking on and off. You can say turning clicking on and off of the like button, and you think you're helping the channel. You're not. If anything, you will get the algorithm to think we're trying to cheat ourselves into many likes, maybe cheat Google into many likes. But that's fine. We will move on. Big up to you too, Chelsea Mitchell Boy. I appreciate you. You know that. You know I don't like you either. But much love to you. Sincerely do appreciate you, brother. Let's see what else anybody else has to say before we move on from the Reece James conversation. And this is Vic here. Vic is saying Madrid can buy whoever they want from Hakimi, returning to James or Trent, Alexander-Arnold. Money is never a problem for them, Coach. Yeah, here's the thing. Money is never a problem for them, but they have to be spent cautiously too, in my opinion. That's how I see it. But you're entitled to argue they can buy any player they don't want to buy. Here's the thing. If you follow Madrid, I get it. They've been buying the biggest names in world football, and they've been the ones always breaking transfer records here and there. But the fact remains, they don't spend too much in one window. Too much in the sense after signing sometimes one player they stop, and that's because they follow a pattern where they won't lack. You could say it would be difficult for them to need to sign too many players at the same time, in my opinion. Yeah, but if you believe that, keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes to go along. I appreciate you all finding the time to join the show. Let's see what else we have here. Hey to you too, JC. Much love to you. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show this afternoon for me. When was Madrid ever cautious? Are you not paying attention? You have. I think I've heard. What's the name? I say they're not going to sign any more players at a particular season. In a particular season, in my opinion. But here's my point is they've not been reckless in spending. Yeah. They don't sign too many players at the same time. Correct me if I'm wrong. And even these days, they're actually more into getting players to leave their current club as a free agent and join them. They're into that. But that's just me. Let's see what else we have here. Let's see, Oscar. I get it. Every year you get them pay premium for one player and break a world record in most cases, in my opinion. Let's see. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. I can't complain, and I hope you're doing well too. Just quickly, I'm going to go to JC. I don't know if you have anything, Jerry Z, if you have anything to add to the rumors of Lincoln and Reece James, Chelsea captain Reece James, with a move to Real Madrid. Let's hear you. If you have anything to add to that. Otherwise, I'm going to go to let's hear you, Jerry Z. If you have anything to add.
Good afternoon, Coach.
Big up to you too, brother. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you joining.
You're most welcome, sir. As far as the rumors are concerned, again, we don't know. As you said, Team Talk is not very credible in terms of the speculations. But anyhow, these rumors would always come, and of course, there will always be some truth into that, right? Because players like Reece James or any other big player would definitely be linked. Clubs in England, across Europe, will definitely keep an eye on such great players who are so young with a higher ceiling, who could be instrumental in their game plan. So, of course, even if they are interested, it will always come down to the player first of all, and the club. Chelsea definitely wants to keep him. They named him the captain 3 months ago, and they of course had a plan. They just didn't name him because they wanted to name any captain, because of the long-term plan with the people, with the players we bought. So, and I think with what I understand, how I followed and read between the lines of everything Reece James communicate with the fans, I think he wants to stay here, at least for now, in the long-term basis. If something changes in the future, anything can happen. But I don't see it as a concern. And I think Reece James wants to stay here. He wants to prove himself.
Oh, definitely.
He loves Chelsea. And I think it will take a lot for him. Many, many reasons. Something that is will need to like measure, and it should be not just money, it should be more than money for him to leave Chelsea. So at this moment I don't have any concern at all, and I see Reece, if he's fit, to be a very long-term player and a captain for Chelsea.
Yeah, there's no question whether he loves Chelsea or not. We all know he does. Again, it's Chelsea. Like I said before, talk about Chelsea through and through. He epitomizes that. He's a prime example to what that really means, given his commitment and everything. And but that's, by the way, let me see what else we have in the chat here before I come to Tebejo to hear him. And hello to you, to Constantine Dentu. Much love to you, brother. I appreciate all the love you've shown this community. I cannot thank you enough, brother. And Vicky is saying they held on because of the stadium project in the past. Coach, it's Paris. Paris was the name I was looking for. Thank you so much. But still, they went reckless. Even even before the stadium project, they weren't spending recklessly the same way Barcelona was spending at the time, which caused them problems later on. So, but thank you for that, Coach. Reece has signed up to a long-term contract, and I've mentioned that already. He isn't going anywhere unless the club wants him to leave. Yep, he wants to leave. The club wants him to stay. So a match made in heaven. So he's here for a long time, in my opinion. He calls me Chipchilla. Nice to see you once again, brother. Much love to you. One more copyright strike, Coach. You need to be careful of counterfeits. Yeah. Just people are having a conversation there. James has a contract until 2028. Yeah, but that doesn't mean if the club wants to sell him, they're not going to sell him. And that doesn't mean if he wants to leave, he's not going to leave. And actually, some Chelsea fans are actually all for Chelsea selling him. That's because they believe he's now injury prone. But I don't think the club will sell him. He's very young at given time, but he has to find a way to manage his fitness and stay fit and not just come back, play 2, 3, 4 games and then boom, gets injured. That has not been helping us, and it's been happening like 4 seasons in a row now, so it's become an issue. Let's see, keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. Also a bit tired, but I am okay. Good to hear that you're doing better. And we have CFCOG. Much love to you, bro. Always nice to see you. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show this afternoon. For me, evening for you, I know. And Ochi, if you don't mind, whenever you get a chance to share the link to your YouTube channel so people can go check it out. Selflessness is the reason why we're growing as quickly as we're growing. What's money? Then money is playing for the biggest club in the world. That's why they're able, them and Barcelona, their history is the reason why they're able to get some players, you can say, run down their contract and join them as a free agent. Yep. Yeah, but it was a bit painful to watch. Let's see what else we have here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. Tebejo, coming to you. I appreciate you finding the time to join us. I know it's evening for you. What do you make of the news of Lincoln Reece James with a move to Real Madrid? And people, if you're watching, remember, once we're done addressing the news items, we have not too many. Then we get into the match review proper. But Tebejo, if you're there, let's hear you.
Big up, Coach. How are you?
I can't complain, brother. Big up to you too. I'm looking for a way to start a fight with you on Twitter, but it's not happening. You're but let's hear you, bro.
I am not Tebejo's disciple, so he's in safe hands. Or rather, I am in safe hands, I should say.
Go ahead.
So, I hope the background music won't affect the stream because there's people around drinking. So hopefully
I'm not actually hearing anything. I have to be honest with you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
In terms of Reece James, I think Real Madrid have Reece James on the list. It's been years now. And then clearly this kid doesn't want to leave now because he signed a new contract. If he wanted to leave Chelsea that time, he would have rejected the offer from our club. So at the moment, it looks like he's staying, but in the future, we'll never know. So hopefully he stays forever because someone is mentioning it, said Rich James was so fine yesterday. Clearly, you can see the difference between Rich James and Malagusto. Malagusto is still young, will get there, but hopefully stay injury free and then can help us win games because we need him. At the moment, we need more creativity for us to win games. So hopefully stays forever, Chelsea.
Yeah, I agree with you. Please, if you're in the chat, please try as much as you can. Try as much as you can to stay aligned, to keep the topics aligned. To keep the topics aligned so that I'll read your comment. I respect you. I respect the OGs. I respect the channel members too. But if you can be considerate enough to keep the topics aligned, because switching between topics like this, it can be exhausting. And usually we have a very long show here. So I appreciate you all. Please, let's keep it aligned. I really appreciate that. And it was a bit. It was a bit rusty win. A professional performance, in my opinion. That's how I see it. We would be winning probably. We would be winning probably against oppositions like that. Oh yeah, that's a tap in from you, Constantine Dante. You know that's my thing. I've always said I'm not too concerned about the big boys. My biggest concerns have always been the mid-table and bottom-table teams. And whenever I say that, I usually say the truth remains that Charity FC is well and truly in existence, and that's why we tend to struggle against mid-table and bottom-table teams, or you could say teams that defend deep, for lack of a better language here. I keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way, and wow, my bro is in the house. And it looks like that's the first time I'm seeing you here. I'm gonna need the fireworks. I'm gonna need honestly the fireworks for Uncle Justice. One of my favorite Chelsea pundits. That I like to use that language. If you don't like it, that's up to you. But I respect him so much. Very knowledgeable and doesn't base his opinions on whatever anybody else says. He comes and drops it as he feels it is and not look back. So welcome, Uncle Justice, to Chelsea Perspective. I appreciate you joining. And following that, immediately, he actually became a member of the channel. I cannot thank you enough, brother. That means a lot to me. And if any day you have time, again, you're welcome to the panel. You've always known, I've always reached out to you to be part of the conversation, but you've always been busy. And I've always, I understand because bills don't pay themselves. But I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. And I've made you a moderator actually even before I saw you became a member. But nice to see you. And the coach, that's a question from the Beautiful Game. Much love to you, brother. Coach, if you had only two choices and you can only pick one and not say something ridiculous, would you sell him to Real Madrid or keep him, knowing he will only be available for 45% of the season? Big up to you. Here's the thing. I'm going to say this. That's a brother I hate to love, in my opinion. I love him so. I love the Beautiful Game so much. But his opinion, he always likes to put me on the spot. Let me say this. Here's the thing you have to be at the back of your mind. Now, he's still young, and chances are he can overcome the injury issues. And if you look at his injuries, I get it. One of them is reoccurring. I can't quite recall which of them exactly. I can't quite recall which of them exactly right now. But the others are varied, and which means that there's a chance we'll sell him now. We'll experience another case of Ian Robben, whom at Chelsea he was it was one injury after the other, and we had to sell him. And after when we sold him, the rest is history. Was it Real Madrid before Bayern? I can't quite remember which came first. But I'm sure you're well acquainted with what he went on to achieve as a footballer. So I think let's give him time. He's signed a long-term contract. Let's give him a year or two. If it's not working out, then we can decide to sell him. And right now, I'm happy that the club hasn't decided to sell him. They like him and they believe that he will come good. But just go away, the Beautiful Game. I didn't even watch the game. And that's because you probably didn't believe Chelsea were going to win the game. Let's see what else we have here. James will potentially leave Chelsea if this rot continues. That's my argument. Right now, the club aren't looking to sell him. They may well do that in the future, but they have to give him time because he's still young. And that's very common with young players. The chances are he overcomes and starts doing well. Where are we on the EPL table? 11th. Congratulations. That was, you said, better off than last season. Let's see what else we have here. Just Uncle Jess is saying hello to Chelsea Mitchell Boy in the house. And yeah, brother, drop the link. Okay, I'm gonna drop the link to you immediately. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go along. I appreciate you all finding the time to join the show. I hope you're all doing well. Enjoy yourself. Keep it civil. Just give me 1 second here. Yep. Justice is in the house. It's only my chat window where the poll keeps popping up every 5 seconds or something else. It depends on the device you're using. That's how I see it. Sell James for 100 million but Real Madrid are not going to give you anything up to 70 because it's a risk, and probably they're still recovering with how much they paid us for Havertz. Eden Hazard. I don't think they'd risk it. But plus, the club wouldn't want to sell him right now. And as you can see from the report on the screen, they're not looking to sell him. Dante, they were really trying hard to play faster from all parts of the pitch. I think it was not exactly one touch of football of City to looked clumsy at times. And okay, let's move on from that just quickly here. Rather sell Sterling and Madueke and buy Musiala and Kim. So good luck buying Musiala. James' position on the field doesn't help him. It's a very demanding role. What do you think we'll do with him? Play him in the midfield area? We're packed in that area, so he has to stick with that right back area. And if it doesn't work, full back area, then yeah, would sell him in the future. James captain not going anywhere. Captaincy, I don't think we showed him from the fact that he's been, you can say he's injury prone right now, and the club will be paying attention for that. And if that continues, chances are they'd sell him. Bobby, let's hear you. What do you make of him? Bobby, more importantly, I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join us this evening for you, afternoon for me still. What do you make of the rumors linking Reece James with a move to Real Madrid? Let's hear you, Bobby.
Reece James is not going anywhere. I don't know what's wrong with the Chelsea rumor mill and the Chelsea trolls. Just
Even though you're not happy with him, right? You're not happy with the fact that he gets injured. Yeah.
I'm not happy with his injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Reece James, when fit, is our best player. He's now also the captain, so we need to persist. The reason why there has to be a remedy to his injury problems, because one of the reasons why last season we had a bloated squad was because we carried injuries from one season to another, and so we had gaps in the playing personnel. So him not being fit doesn't help the team. We know this. We are just beginning to try and get him back. And he might end up being that sort of player that we have to manage his game time in order to manage his fitness. I mean, we've been there before. I remember in the 90s, we had that with Gustavo Poyet. He was one of our most prolific midfielders. He was probably potentially more prolific than Frank Lampard, but he always had injuries, and so we had to manage him. And even then, his knees were made of glass, basically. So, but that aside, Rhys James isn't going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. Chelsea won't sell him, and he won't even want to go. So all the, Real Madrid, there's always these people looking for Chelsea to get rid of players. I watched a little bit of Lewis Hall yesterday, coming on and playing just like he did for Chelsea in a cup game, and he actually scored this time. Albeit, they basically pushed him into the arms of Newcastle. Yes,
And just quickly, he's cup tied, right? Did I hear he's cup tied and won't play against us? Did I hear something like that?
It's up to us because he's alone.
It's up to us, right? Okay, up to us. Thank you, Uncle Justice. And by the way, Uncle Justice, welcome for your, you can say, your Chelsea perspective debut. I've been waiting for that for 1,000 years, and finally, it's happening now. And I'm quite sure you'll have a good debut here. Bobby, go ahead. Sorry for cutting you off.
Well, to me, this is where charity comes, this charity business comes in, because Chelsea, being the charitable club they are, they probably will let him play. Whereas to me, I would say no. But Chelsea, ooh, let's be fair and square. Let him play. Let's not inhibit his career. Bullshit. He doesn't play for us anymore. He shouldn't play. That's how I would look at it. But they would probably let him play. And okay, fine. But when he was at Chelsea, building up his career, playing in cup games and coming off the bench, people were screaming and shouting that he
Mhm.
should be sold. Okay, now he's gone.
Let me
So
ask you this quickly, Bobby. Going back to Reece James,
yeah,
if his situation continues like this for 2 or 3 years,
yeah.
would you still be saying you want the club to keep him?
In 2, 3 years' time, he wouldn't
If
be
he
wanted
continues, like
as much.
next season, he plays 4 or 5 games and then gets injured again and stays out for like a month or two, and then the following year it happens again, would you still be saying the club should keep him?
Well, we would be cornered into it because he wouldn't be wanted as much. The only reason they're trying to peddle the Reece James rumor is that there's hope for him to overcome his injury because of his age. That's all. Now, why does that hope have to lie elsewhere? Because there are some people that are vested in finding any and every way to weaken Chelsea Football Club. So, I don't think it's any. I think the injuries is a concern. Of course, it is big
Mhm.
concern because we never get 3, 4 games in a row, and then we've got to be floundering for Reece James. This team, as it is, needs Reece James. We need a full season of Reece James. We need a pre-season of Reece James. We need another season of Reece James. This is what we need. Now, how can we get that? Play him sparingly. He played an hour yesterday. I don't want to see, oh, suddenly because we got Spurs, we're now having to play him 90 minutes and then keep flogging him. No, play him
Yeah,
another hour
mhm.
or less. We've got Gusto who's an able lieutenant for him. We have to just manage his game time, but getting rid of him is out of the question.
Yeah, here's why people you can say it just seems a lot of people now wants him sold. I don't know, I don't have the exact number. It's because there
Mm.
was a statistics that came out a month ago or so showing that he's been out more than he's played for Chelsea. And that's for three
Yes,
years now. And that was
yes.
concerning. I think I did see that myself. But go ahead if
Yeah.
you wanted to say something else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also concerned. He spends more time out than in, and he spends more time out during crucial parts of the season, as does
Hmm.
Ben Chilwell. Of course, we're all concerned. But the fact is, he has been made the club captain. That's a very serious thing. You watch some of those Obi Mikel podcast things with John Terry talking, you can see the
Hmm.
significance of a good integrated captain. Number one. Number two, when fit, he is our best player. Number three, he's a Chelsea graduate. Number four, he's used to the Premier League. So there's that element of wanting to persist with him, and I think we should. Um, we have a new medical staff. We have more experience in dealing with him. I have to say, part of his injuries was caused by people like Thomas Tuchel playing him twice a week, 3 times a week, until eventually it happened. Well, I don't think we should be. Well, we didn't have that opportunity this time around, I don't think, unless with the cup games. I don't think we should allow that to happen. I think we should be sparing with him. Now, if, as is the concern, we're still sparing and he still goes off on a long-term injury, then the discussion has to be had. But if that happens, who's really going to want to take a punt on a player like that? I mean, it's going to be one bit of a club like Real Madrid. Do they really need to take that sort of risk? It's not a necessary risk,
Yeah, absolutely. I
especially
don't think they'd take the risk. It just doesn't make
no,
sense. Yeah.
it's not, especially after their Eden Hazard experience. So
Yeah.
we have to find a way. It's the onus is as much on the club to keep him fit as it is for him to stay fit, if you see what I'm saying. And I
Hmm.
think at this early stage, the issue of getting rid of him, if Reece goes as a result of persistent injury, it's not going to be to Real Madrid. It's going to be to either the MLS or some other lesser league or lesser situation that his body can cope with. You're not
Hmm.
going to go from high intensity, high expectation to high intensity, high expectation, even if their league is not as intense as the Premier League. They are very much intense in their cup pursuits, particularly the European Cup pursuits, and their fan base is highly, highly critical. And I don't think they would want him, and I think he would be very stupid
All
to
right.
accept that.
All right, thank you so much. I'm going to give those in the chat the microphone, then I'll come back. We'll hear Uncle Justice get his thoughts on regions being linked with a move to Real Madrid. It'd be interesting to see what he has to say. And here says Vic says that someone on this panel said Mount wasn't going anywhere. And that person is saying the same with Reece James. That's the Chelsea fan in him. And at the time, a lot of people believed Mount wasn't leaving. James will say yes to Real Madrid, no doubt. I don't think so. If they come now, he's not going to say yes. He will only say yes if Chelsea started treating him in a way that he doesn't like. But right now, I think he's committed to the project, in my opinion. Let's see what else we have here. The only reason we are even having this conversation and there is rumors of floating around is because James injury record. I think that's the truth. That's why we're having this conversations, because some people are saying Chelsea, the club should cash in and just sell him. I take the money. A few seasons ago, he had a trend on the ropes, and we wouldn't even consider selling him. And right now, I don't think the new owners would consider selling him. Yeah, coach. But if he was injured every year as he is, who would want him? Nobody. I think there will be club that will want, that will be willing to take him and manage him, even in the Premier League, actually, because it's English too. Bear that at the back of your mind. Madrid will take him, but they're not going to pay that much money. Just like the case of Havertz, they wanted him, but not willing to pay premium for him. And Arsenal came and saved the day for us. Let's see. We have a celebrity in our midst. Barbecue time. Yeah, Uncle Justice barbecue time. I hope he brings that back. He needs to have the surgery. Didn't he go under the knife before the World Cup? Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought he did. Yeah, I thought he did. Making James captain was a stupid decision. I don't think I wouldn't go to that extent, in my opinion. Reece was good yesterday, yeah, but you could see that he was a bit rusty from the cross. He ballooned from. You can say that all the you can support decisions he made during. Not too many of them, but that showed you that's below his standard on his day. Why would we let him go? Even if he's fit to play only 10 games, his salary is not going from my pocket. I don't care, but unfortunately, you are not the one paying the bills. So those that are paying the bills could look at it and say, I don't think we should keep him. I think it's time to let him go. But we're not at that point at this point, in my opinion. Please go check out Uncle Justice YouTube channel. You already. I'm quite sure lots of you watching right now. We don't have too many people watching, but that's okay. You've seen
Can I
him
just
on
interject, please?
just one second. You've seen him on many YouTube channels talking Chelsea, and he knows what he's talking about. He's not one of those. It's just pull stuff, information, or just you can say shove. You can say throw their or pull opinions out of their wazoo and throw them at you. He knows what he's talking about, and whenever he's wrong, he admits it. That's one thing I like about him. Very more importantly, so please go check out this YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe. Let's see anything else. Bobby, go ahead. You wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to put some clarity behind what I'm saying. In the context of where we are now, Reece James is, just as has been said already, I'm not the only person saying it, he's not under consideration to go anywhere. He's not going anywhere, and he doesn't even want to go anywhere in the context of where we are now. If, God forbid, let this not happen, he suddenly goes and gets another flipping 6 months injury, then he puts his position at risk, especially with the outcome of whatever the injury is. That is natural. However, the club will also not want to be seen to just be abandoning players because they are injured, especially a captain and especially our best player. So, as I said earlier, and I repeat, it is in our interest and our benefit to do everything we can as a club to keep him fit. And it is in his interest to do everything he can as a player to remain fit. Where that takes us, well, time will tell. I'm hoping and praying, along with everybody else, that that takes us to some sort of longevity of Reece James in a season. That would be wonderful, because for 4 years we have not had a full season of Reece James, and that's terrible.
Mhm. All right, thank you. Let's hear you, Uncle Justice. Your thoughts on Reece James being linked with a move to Real Madrid. Let's debunk that one. That's what we'll do here. We'll take a look at reports out there, come to a sensible conclusion, and educate our followers. Tell them we're not telling them what to believe. We'll tell them, okay, this is what we think. We think this is absolute nonsense. We think maybe there's some truth to this. Chances are Madrid are looking, following his Chelsea situation, and seeing if maybe would be interested in selling. I don't know, but let's hear you, Uncle Justice.
Yeah, I think there's two things there.
Mhm.
Are Real Madrid monitoring Reece James? Well,
Mhm.
yes, they're monitoring the best right back in the world. Why wouldn't you do that?
And
Okay,
that's
the
why
next
they're
question.
Madrid.
Yeah, you're Real Madrid. You're gonna monitor the best players in the world. That's just gonna happen because that's why you're the best team in the world. Second thing, we don't have to speculate on Reece James because he was asked this question last year and just poo-pooed it. He said, "No, I'm Chelsea. I'm staying at Chelsea. Chelsea captain." So this is, again, we played this game last year with Real Madrid and Reece James. People thought it was going to happen this summer. There were some people thought that was going to happen. Never going to happen. Reece James, and we want to talk about injuries. The management of Reece James are more to blame for his injury than the player himself. The player can only do so much, right? He's a growing young man, and coach, I know that you know sport very well, and when an athlete's body is growing and not fully grown into his man body, the more stress you put on your body is the more chance things are going to break down, because you might be over muscled, but the connective tissues have not grown and kept up the pace. There's things like that happens all the time. That's why young players, you're not supposed to throw out there game after game, game after game, because they will break down. Bukayo Saka is going to be in the same position in a couple of years, because this kid is not done growing, and you're throwing him out there game after game, 90 minutes. And it's not just the wear and tear. It's hey, your foot got stepped on 50 times a game. Your ankles got clattered 50 times. You're making these runs to stress yourself out. You're overstressing muscle groupings. This will happen. That is why you have to put a squad together that allows you to rotate and have somebody come in that is at least comparable to the player they're replacing.
100%.
Yeah, and just as
100.
quickly, yeah, Bobby. Sorry, you wanted to interject?
No, I'm just
Okay.
agreeing totally.
Yeah. And just as quickly, we've heard the manager say he likes a 25-man squad. Will that be enough to rotate enough to mitigate the injury issues we're having? Because given the amount of players, Reece James, we have injury concerns when it comes to Nkunku, injury concerns when it comes to Connie Chukwuemeka, injury concerns when it comes to Wesley Fofana. I think probably injury concerns when it comes to what's his name, Ben Chilwell. So if we don't have a big squad, I think it becomes an issue, because had it not been for the size of our squad last season, we could have ended the season probably would be playing in the championship right now. But the injury size help. So don't you think that would be an issue? And Pochettino, he said 1,000 times he likes a 25-man squad, and it looks like that's what we're doing right now. Don't you think that would be an issue?
No, because you would have to extrapolate and say this is going to continue. And we all know Reece James, if it continues, will no longer be a Chelsea player at some point, because the team is just not going to continue to let him go year after year or year after year. There's no point in it, right? We now have somebody that is comparable to Reece James sitting behind him in Malo Gusto. He is, when you put him on the pitch, you have confidence that at least he can do a job. We didn't have that last year with Azpilicueta, or the year before with Azpilicueta, or the year before that with Azpilicueta. We haven't had a reliable replacement for Reece James in his career with Chelsea, first team. We now do. You don't have to run this man in the ground because you have somebody that can come in, 60-minute mark, last 30 minutes of the game, boom, we can bring in Malo Gusto. At least you know he can play defense. He's not at Reece James level going forward yet, but the man can play some defense.
Yeah, defensively he's excellent, and it can only. I think with time, I think he will improve.
Right. But 19 years old, right? 19 or 20?
Just 19. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead if you were still talking. Sorry.
No issue. We talk about Ben Chilwell. Where's Ben Chilwell right now?
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody know what city Ben Chilwell is in?
He's still out.
He's in Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I think somebody was saying that was an old video. Not recent.
No. He's actually in Los Angeles.
But he's in Los Angeles for real.
What else is in Los Angeles? The LA Dodgers.
Yeah.
Which is owned by Todd Bowley.
Educators, just that we're listening.
He's gone to LA to recover for the LA Dodgers medical staff to walk him through recovery.
With the video being circulated.
Well, the video, I think he was at the LA Lakers game. There's a new one with the LA Lakers
but not
game.
Recent.
The one video with the picture they were showing with that was from 2022. But
the one I'm talking about, the one in the party, some more like the one in the party.
Yeah, that was from 2022.
Okay.
I think there's a new one with him at the Lakers game.
So he's in LA recovering.
Right. And I think if Reece James has another long-term injury, they're going to send him to the States as well.
What difference does it make, really? Is it for treatment or not just recovery? Can you elaborate?
I can tell you.
Okay.
If I lived in any other country but the United States, I would be dead now. Because I had, for 8 years, the best medical care in the world in the United States that kept me alive until I could have a transplant that I wasn't supposed to survive and survived anyway. The medical technology in the United States, barred stem cell stuff, because there's limitations there, is the best you're going to find in the world. And I'm living proof that that's the case.
Wow.
So,
technology is good, and I'm glad you're living proof. I think that's some good news if you understand the language I'm using. Go ahead if you're still talking justice.
Yeah. So for me, there are more sports surgeons in the United States than you're going to find anywhere on the planet, because that's what we do in the United States. When I was growing up, our high school football team had the same surgeon as the Texas A&M football team.
Wow.
So when I tell you there is very, very specialized and skilled people that do these surgeries specifically on athletes. So when me and you went to go, like I had my rotator cuff partially reconstructed. I did not have an orthopedic surgeon that was a sports guy, or I would have more mobility in my shoulder now. I would be able to throw a football again, throw a baseball again. Because when they do it, they go the extra mile for athletes, because there's money involved, and it's prestige. I was the surgeon who allowed so-and-so to continue his career. So Tommy John surgery, all in the United States. If anybody knows what Tommy John surgery is, they take a ligament or a tendon, I can't remember, from a cadaver, and they do surgery to replace your ligament or tendon. You're about out for a year, but they usually do it on pitchers, and they're able to come back and pitch, throw 90 miles an hour. This is a specialized surgeries that you don't see in other countries, because sport is so big in the United States. Not to say that everybody's country is crappy medical.
No, I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
we just do this on a level that no other country does.
Yeah. Something else I want to ask you quickly, Justice. Do you think that the same question I asked Bobby, if Reece James's recurring injuries persist, or if we keep witnessing, seeing him play just a few games each season and gets injured and stays out for a while, To what extent do you think that will happen before the club decides they want to let him go? They have to it's business. Because if he's not playing and he's earning a salary, it doesn't matter whether he's the least. He earns the least salary or the most. I think they will decide to let him go at some point. To what extent do you think they'd let him go?
I think what people don't understand is they've already made plans to move on from him if his injury concerns do not. That doesn't change for him. We bought the best up-and-coming French right back in the world. Okay? Malo Gusto is supposed to be France's next big right back. So we've already made the plans, right? Because in business, you have to look 2 or 3 years ahead, 4 or 5 steps down the line. You can't look at, okay, what am I going to do tomorrow? Because what you're doing is not just based on tomorrow, it's based on 5 years down the road. So when you're looking at players, they've already brought in Reece James's replacement. He's here.
Yeah,
now
they're planning ahead. Yeah,
right. You have to, because if you lose him and you have no replacement, then what? You're going to play the Sasia right back?
Yeah, but I agree with you. Yeah, I agree. And Disasi, he didn't do well the last time he played there for us. And something I've always said is this: just as these guys, they didn't become billionaires by being dumb. They're very smart people. So probably they have a contingent plan. If it turns out Reece James is not going to work out again, or he's become problematic, then they will look to move on. Thank you so much, Uncle Justice. Let me see. I thought I saw Enzo with armband yesterday. That was what was going on. I can't quite remember what happened. I don't know if Reece handed it to him. I don't know. I saw him drop. That's the only time I saw him with it. I saw him drop it. Probably was he being subbed off at the time? I can't quite remember. Gala got demoted already. I'm not too sure if that's the case. Let's see what else we have here. I don't think James ever got operation on his hamstring. We talked about this before. Maybe he went under the knife for something else. He went under the knife before World Cup. I can't quite remember. I think I have to research that, Jab. Tobeho just subscribed to your channel, Uncle Justice. Thank you so much, Tobeho. You will not regret that. I want to hear Gallagher rumors. Nothing. It's not happening. So go take a break. If it's going to happen, we don't know. James needs a surgery. I think he needs surgery. Spartan Justice, that's why we have lots of injuries, because they are all still growing. I didn't know that, actually. Here's what I used to think before. As players age, that's when they get injured more. I didn't even know it is actually more common in younger players than older players. But it makes sense now, because I've heard people say on occasions that a player can outgrow their injury issues. So it makes sense now even more. But thank you very much. I sincerely do appreciate that. Ben Chilwell in LA for recovery. Yep. And people took it, ran with it. Some were posting videos of him at a nightclub, and some girl at the point of kissing him and all that, saying, then some were furious. People saw it and were furious, thinking, even though we're struggling and he's injured and he's in LA partying without knowing the context of the whole situation. We are desperate for him to be fit, and we don't have a team that can carry a player. I remember when we beat West Ham 4-1, and Paddy said in his post-match, a 10-man CFC were even more deadlier after the red card. But we don't have that such team right now. These guys are pros. Everything is covered. James, unfortunately, will always have this problem. It's hereditary. Wow, I hate to say that word. I don't think you can inherit such. I don't know, but I'm not a doctor, and you know that. Yeah,
you can inherit traits and predispositions. He's a big man. Reece James is not a small man.
No, he's not. Yeah, he's big.
So
yeah.
he look that, and there's a reason that modern athletes have more muscle problems than athletes back in the day, because there's more weight training and more focus on that. So when you're younger and you overdevelop muscles, not all the time the connective tissues and ligaments and tendons keep up with that growth. And so now you're putting more torque and more stress on on parts of your body that are not able to keep up. That's why you're popping hamstrings. That's why you're popping ACLs, because when you plant and you torque, that has to go somewhere. And so your muscles are putting out more than your connective tissues can handle, and they snap. It's very, very, it's commonly known, but until they understand that weight training to a certain extent in certain positions is not the way. I would love to see Reece James in a swimming pool. Period. Resistance training against water will do more for that man and his connective tissues than weightlifting.
I'm going to ask you whether you're a doctor, but not right now. Do that. I'll do that right now. Chile is cooking in the lab right now. Once he's done, he'd be better than Messi. Wow, some statement right there. We have a lot of injuries because our players are weak. That is just an opinion there. Yeah, someone needs to tell him. I'm not going to get into that. The blue team game. I don't like you. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up so we can address all the news items and then get to the match review exercise as quickly as possible. How come players like Hazard, Mikel, De Bruyne, Salah never got injured in their youth? I'm not going to answer that. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. Mikel had injuries, actually. De Bruyne did quite a lot. Even during preseason under Jose Mourinho, he got injured. Yep, he took a shot and got injured. I remember that. Who again did you mention? Salah? I can't quite remember, but Salah didn't spend much time with us. We are willing to play the long game to sign Aaron Ramsdale. The Blues the Blues no price and a 50 million rated Ramsdale away from their London rivals Arsenal mid-season could be challenging, but are ready to push hard to his signing next summer. Bobby, does this make sense to you? Or do you think we shouldn't do that? I don't know whether I should trust Alex Crook. I don't know him that much. But we're here to analyze every report, the reports we have lined up out there, and come to a sensible conclusion. Does this make sense to you, Bobby, if you're there? It takes Bobby a while sometimes to unmute his device. So maybe
sorry, I actually stepped away. What was the question?
Aaron Ramsdale will look into price him out. He's rated 50 million. Does it make sense to you, this report?
I can't say how good he is, to be honest. I don't know whether it's because he's an English player and we suddenly feel we need one, or I mean, he didn't look that great against West Ham yesterday, did he? I don't know. If he's an upgrade on what we've got, then fine. But if it's marginal, then I'm struggling to see the point. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He needs to be an upgrade because Robert Sanchez is an excellent shot stopper. His problem is with his feet.
And it looks like actually you could say he's considerably good with his feet, but not perfect. Maybe he can improve with time, but let's see.
Yeah, you said it. Maybe he can improve with time. Petrovic, we haven't even seen yet.
So, and some are saying he's better on the ball than Sanchez.
Well, it's left to be seen, isn't it? Well, certainly by us, the fans, unless you guys in America know so much about him, but he hasn't done it under the pressure of the Premier League. So I don't know about Ramsdale. I really don't. If he is an upgrade, fantastic, happy days, because I'm all for the ruthlessness of purchase. Chelsea should go for the best, whatever. But if it's just getting him because people fancy having him, then to me it's a pointless thing. It really is.
But Coach, let me jump in here because I've had this debate already with people about goalkeepers. I was probably the first one to come out and say Mendy was not good enough to continue as the Chelsea goalkeeper. I got hate for that, but I ended up being correct. It was the position I played when I played in my youth. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
There's some people who think that, oh, let's just go and get another guy. He's better. We have to quantify better. And The person we were talking about was Mike Magnon over Robert Sanchez. And when I told them, I said, there's 5 or 6 keepers in the world who can win you games. Everybody else pretty much is as good as the defense that plays in front of them. There's maybe 5. You could say 5 to 6, however you want to argue it. I'm not going to argue it because it's not worth it. But everybody else is as good as the defense in front of them. Yes, occasionally they'll make stops to bail you out. And yes, occasionally they'll let goals in they should have stopped. But that's most of all the keepers in the world fall into that category. That Aaron Ramsdale is only going to be as good as the shots coming to him because he's relegated 2 teams and he's not an upgrade in anything he does to Robert Sanchez, other than the fact that he has an English passport. That's it.
I think, I don't think he is an upgrade to Sanchez. And I think Roger, who we called chairman of the Goalkeepers Union, I think you joined that union since you were a goalkeeper during your playing days. I'll let Roger know on time that he has a campaign to remain the chairman of the Goalkeepers Union. That is actually a good question. I tried to answer it my best with Kevin De Bruyne's case and Mikel also. Ramsdale, did they not see his performance last night? I actually didn't watch the Arsenal game. What happened? The Bluetooth game educators. I never did a hamstring in my life. One of my teammates had it every year, no matter what he did. Wow. So it's something that doesn't go away easily. Paying 50 million for him, are we serious? But at this point, you can say just rumor. Just rumor. No way to confirm whether we're truly interested in him, but we'll find out. Arsenal to get there, have lots of money back, and we're not going to give them that. Go ahead, Bobby. You wanted to say something.
I think ultimately, perhaps the sensible thing, which I so agree with us on this panel today, is that we're all in consensus that, look, if this guy isn't an upgrade to what we've got, then why are we even talking about him? Do you know what I mean? What is the point in buying a player that is at best a sideways move? We may as well keep the ones that are already integrated or integrating into the team and build with them than just waste time and money. I haven't seen anything personally that makes me jump out my seat about Ramsdale. And we're yet to see Petrovic. So this is crazy that we're even linked to.
And I'm gonna come to you just as in a bit once Bobby's once I get Tabejo and Jesse's opinion to let us know how well you know Petrovic. Go ahead, Bobby. Sorry for cutting you off. Were you still talking? It looks like he's dropped before.
No, I just made my point.
Okay. Thank you. I'll come to you, Uncle Justice, in a bit. Why would we want a Ramsdale, especially 50 million? He's not the biggest upgrade, not upgrade in any aspect, in my opinion. Sanchez has done well. I just need competition for him. I just want Petrovic to get a chance to play. So Sanchez will be forced to go look himself in the mirror, do some self-reflection, and you can say find out areas where he needs to do better. In my opinion, he's not perfect yet, but he's proven to be. You can say he's looking better and better after each game. In my opinion, get a world-class keeper next. That's one of the most important next step. I think we need to. These kids, they don't need a situation where they play well, score goals, and then we have a goalkeeper make some mistakes and leading to us drawing a game or losing games we shouldn't lose. Here we go again. Thibaut Courtois, best goalkeeper in the world. No ball playing. Yeah, aside that, but we have a manager who likes that, who likes his players to play from the back. Not another goalkeeper panelist. Let's say, yeah, we have another goalkeeper panelist. We have another one contesting for the chairman. Because of the chairman position of the Goalkeepers Union, and I'll let Roger know in due time. Ramsdale for what? It's getting ludicrous. And at this moment, I think I agree with you. Coach has a good connection at the Goalkeepers Union. Dante, yeah, I'm seeing that right now. Uncle Justice and Rogers himself. We are sponsored by Goalkeeper Union. It seems like it. And you like that. A good goalkeeper should save you 15 points per season. And Uncle Justice did say that. So that's a tapping from you, the beautiful game. Yeah, Coachila said he does not believe in Atlas of VPN, so we ended up with Goalkeepers Union. That works. He's not relegated two teams. He was playing. He was excellent, but that's your opinion. You like to see it that way. Uncle just likes to see the way he did present it to us. And Eugene, nice to see you. I don't know if I've said hello to you. If we didn't see Petrovic yesterday, not sure when Poch waiting for injury. Here's the thing. Even though that reminds me of when we were calling for Mendy to be dropped. Tuchel didn't do that until Mendy got injured. Before maybe Mendy went for AFCON first of all, and then maybe I think after he got injured before Kepa got a chance. But right now, I think the situation, in my opinion, is that the manager and the goalkeeper trainers are still trying to bed in Sanchez, because remember, he didn't have a preseason with us, and before he joined us, he didn't play for a while. So the more he plays, the better he gets, and I think we can all agree he's become better than he was in the first few games he played for us, in my opinion. But we need Petrovic to play so that he competes with him and get him to do even better, in my opinion. Don't forget, Michi was a goalkeeper as well. So yeah, lots of goalkeeping connection here. Ederson's clutch moments in the UEFA Champions League final won City the trophy. Ramsdale had 5 matches to make the difference for Arsenal at the end of last season, and we all know what happened, don't we? So like I'm saying, as I've said before, this may well be just a rumor right now. Nowhere to tell whether there's any truth to it. I never thought you would credit Ederson for 7 that Lukaku had beautiful game. It was debatable. Maybe he's talking about something else. Preseason is so overrated. I don't think it is, in my opinion. So imagine Sanchez gets injured, then we just throw Petrovic in without any game time. Yeah, it's a risk, in my opinion. So Tabejo, you want to say? I'm gonna come to you so that let's get Tabejo's opinion on us being linked with a move for Ramsdale. Tabejo, if you're there, what do you think?
To be honest, man, I think it's just rumors. At the moment, goalkeepers are not our problems. Our problem are scoring goals. Why are we being linked with a goalkeeper? Also, Arsenal reject to Chelsea. Does this make sense?
It doesn't.
A goalkeeper who was dropped for David Raya, who is not good enough also? Come on. I don't believe this news. Over and over again. Maybe if you're linked with Mike Menyo or Diego Costa, yes, I would say yes, maybe. There's a possibility. But right at the moment, we still have 2 new goalkeepers. So why do we need a goalkeeper at the moment? Does it make sense?
It just doesn't. It just doesn't. And did I tell you to say that? Maybe I told you what to say, right? We had a conversation before the show started. Jerry Z, before I go to Uncle Justice, you have anything to add to that? Because I want him to tell us more about Petrovic if he knows him that well.
Yes, coach. So we already talked on this subject. I think you brought this 2 weeks or so ago.
Yeah, and the rumors, you can say it's being resurrected again, maybe, for lack of a better language.
And we took the deep dive. I think Roger is here, I guess. So we, alongside Roger, discussed on it. He has great idea and analysis and stats of the goalkeeper. So at that time, without looking at the stat, in depth, we got this. We agreed that the performance or the standing right now of Ramsey and Sanchez is like at more or less, at the same level. So then of course, I agree with everything the panelists said. Having already signed 2 goalkeepers, Sanchez, Petrovic, and now already thinking to sign a third one, it's first of all sound absurd to me, right? And if we really have to do it, we have to go for it either in January and summer. Then in my opinion, as I said, it should be an elite, or we should try to have a really upgrade, not someone of the similar abilities. And again, we haven't seen Petrovic so far. Again, it raises the question, is he good enough to be a number 1? We don't know, like maybe he's number 2 right now, and they don't see him to good enough to start. Or again, because where we are in the table, yesterday, again, many people were discussing it, and my verdict or my opinion was that the reason, of course, it's just a speculation why Pochettino didn't start or didn't play Petrovic yesterday was just because, as we know, Sanchez made a lot of mistakes in the last couple of games, and now a big game against Spurs and City is coming, so he wanted probably to have some continuity. So for the goalkeeper, again, as I said before, I would say that if we feel that there is a need, then we have to go for someone who is an elite goalkeeper or an upgrade to the ones we have.
Yeah, man, I think I agree with you. Thank you so much. Uncle Justice, educators, how well do you know Petrovic? I've heard somebody in the chat a few days ago say, tell us that he's actually good on the ball, better on the ball than Sanchez actually. And I think from his highlights, I saw mainly his shot-stopping abilities. And I think Roger also did say, I don't know, correct me, Roger, if I'm wrong, that was signed him actually because of his abilities on the ball, his ability on the ball. But let's say you wrote, Justice, how well do you know him? Do you think he has a chance to displace Sanchez, or do you think he'll remain the second goalkeeper for a while?
I don't like wafflers, so I'm gonna let you know I know absolutely nothing about this cat. I've never seen him kick ball. I don't watch the MLS because after watching the Premier League, I can't.
The standard, the disparity between the standard is just too much. Yeah.
We also have Gaga Slonina, who's on loan with
in a Belgian club.
Is it Ghent?
No, not Genk. In a Belgian club, the name is actually very difficult to say. I can't quite remember. If it was Genk, I wouldn't forget.
It's one of the bigger clubs there because I've heard the name before. I just can't remember off the top of my head. So,
yeah, but it's not an easy name to say. But go ahead. Yeah.
It's Lavine, something like that.
It's Lavine.
I'll just double check for you.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Justice.
So it's Upin.
It's what?
Upin.
Upin. Pronounce Upin. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, the only keepers you should be looking to bring in over Robert Sanchez are Manuel Neuer, not available. Thibaut Courtois, not available, and we wouldn't want him back anyway. Ter Stegen, not available. Allison and Ederson, not available. Mike Maignan has given up 2 more goals than expected this year. Playing in Serie A, he's been injured already, and he's been out with a red card. So, no, he is not an upgrade over Robert Sanchez.
How about Oblak?
Well, yeah, I forgot Oblak. There you go. But again, not available. Those guys are staying with the club because they have huge contracts, and why move anywhere? I mean, you're the man at that club. That's the thing about like quarterbacks in the NFL. They don't move club. They used to not move clubs a lot or teams a lot because they're the man. And goalkeepers have that same mentality. They're the man. And why would I want to go unless there's a significant upgrade where I'm going? And Chelsea is not a significant upgrade over Bayern Munich or Real Madrid or Barcelona. Those clubs are bigger clubs in the world. Those clubs are always in title races every year. Bayern win every year. Even Atletico Madrid, Oblak has a better chance of winning the league at Atleti than he does in the Premier League. I mean, There's 3 teams in that league. So he's on one of the 3 teams. So why would you, again, you're not going to leave that to come to the Premier League, which is the best league in the world. It's harder for you to look good. And you're not going to make as much money as Barcelona, at Real Madrid. Even Manuel Neuer at Bayern is on some big time cheddar. So you might have to take a pay cut. Why are you going to do that? And so then you look at all these other keepers that are on the level below, good enough to play at the top flight football, but only really as good as the defenses you put around them. Because as a keeper, I used to be used to taking probably 20, 30 shots at me a game inside the 18-yard box. Name me a keeper that does well when that happens. There's not one. You got to have a defense in front of them to make the keeper look good.
Yeah, that's the truth.
That's
the truth.
Yeah, and even Courtois, Oblak, all those guys. If you put a horrible defense in front of them, they're not going to look great either. Look at
They
All
will
Black
be
last
exposed,
year.
yeah.
Look at All Black's numbers last year. They were down because their defense athletically was worse. It's a team game. It's not individuals. So the reason that Petrovic was not played is because he's trying to build chemistry within the team. If everything's going well and everybody's fit and you have a rotation in your team going and everything is hunky-dory, yeah, you bring in the second goalkeeper. But when you put a performance like we did against Brentford, you don't rotate that team. Go out there and play again because you didn't show chemistry. You didn't show togetherness. You didn't play as a team. And there's lack of chemistry in the side. And the only way to do that is to play them.
Yeah, and lack of chemistry, you could say, is the you can say our biggest problem right now. Because we have an entirely new squad. So I've read that one, and this one here from Kipso saying Ramsdale, this guy scored an own goal against Arsenal. I didn't watch that game. Allison is the level. Thanks, Marina. Let's see, Mike Mayon. And I heard Mike Mayon has said he doesn't want to come to Chelsea. We have Slonina as well, getting wasted at a crap team in a very small club. Yeah, it's a very small club. At least he is playing for that. Or was that a bad loan? I'm not sure if it was a bad loan, and I'm not quite sure. Me saying if it was if it's a small club, I can't say that because I don't know the club, what division they're playing in. UPenn, yeah, Roger, thank you for that. Tiny club, you think? I don't know. I don't know them that well to argue. Manuel is better than Sanchez in terms of shot stopping, but distribution, I say Sanchez, for me, in my opinion, from what I've seen, probably better than him. Wait, we have forgotten our pensioner Bettinelli. Yeah, is him? I think he just counts as homegrown, in my opinion. I got rid of Kepa and Mendy only to be having this same conversation in 2023, at least within by Onana. Yeah, that would have been some serious mistake right now. And I was actually asking for the club to go for him. I was one of those calling for the club to sign Onana. Look at Onana and your thoughts on Martinez. So far, I'd say, I'm glad we didn't sign him from what I've seen. But that's just my opinion anyway. Martinez is good with that dog. This team is weak, in your opinion. I still think I don't like his distribution, in my opinion. But that's just me. Roger, let's come to you. Roger, are you threatened? We have another goalkeeping you can say goalkeeping panelist. That's you can say specialist. He was once a goalkeeper too. So you may well lose your position as the chairman of the goalkeepers union here. So you know that. Roger, meet Uncle Justice. I don't know if you know him. If you haven't, go check out his YouTube channel too. Please be sure to subscribe. It's one of those just like same thing as Bobby and you and us. All of us always love to talk about Chelsea, not because he makes money from it, but the passion and the love he has for the club. But Roger, let's hear you. Yeah, Ramsdale. I know you've talked about him before, but the rumors have resurfaced again, and we're talking about it. We just want to make sense of it. Does he make sense? I'm guessing I can guess correctly what you have to say because I can recall vividly what you said the last time we talked about him. But let's hear you, Roger.
Hola, everybody.
Gracias. Gracias.
No, pleasure as always. Seriously, gentlemen. No, honestly, listen, if I recall correctly, Ramsdale was awarded, he was on the team, was voted on the team of the season last year for the Premier League team of the season, which is quite farcical. Now, I concur with everyone that's talked today about this subject. He's not elite. I think he comes with an English premium, perhaps. Listen, he's a very good shot stopper, no doubt about it. Is he inconsistent? Yes. With his feet, I'd say he maybe even be a notch below Sanchez. I've watched him play for England. I've watched him play for Arsenal. I watch about half the Arsenal games, a third to a half, let's say. With the majority of the top six, I watch between a third to a half, give or take, maybe a little bit more sometimes, depends on the availability of the broadcast. And no, not at all. He's not an upgrade. And as you clearly stated, everyone, it's pointless. It doesn't make financial sense, more importantly, for us to go for a player that is not an upgrade, a significant upgrade, I might add.
Mhm.
Ergo, an elite. And I totally agree with the gentleman. There's probably, I would say, half a dozen to a dozen elite goalkeepers worldwide. And they can save you between 10 to 15 points a season. They are worth going after, not a lateral move, so to speak. It doesn't make any kind of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but thank you so much for that, Roger. I appreciate you. Let's take some questions we have here. This one here, not questions. Let's look at some of the contributions in the chat, Coach. And when you have an 8,000 capacity, 8,000 capacity stadium, it's not a small club. It's not a small club. It sounds like it, but I think that a capacity of the stadium defines the size of the club. Maybe in terms of match going fans, maybe. But I think your achievement as a club defines how much of a big club you are, in my opinion. Roger, on Emi Martinez. Roger, you have anything to say about Emi Martinez? And the
Ditto.
CFC Blue, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Sorry, have you said already? And I wasn't listening.
Ditto. I mean, he's a great. He's an upgrade for shot stopping over the Arsenal keeper. But other than that, if you want to play out from the back with Emi Martinez, I fear not.
Yeah. Let's blood the goalkeepers in our book. Presently have 4 goalkeepers. Let's look in house. I think we should. I think the goalkeeping department is the list of our problems right now. Can we move on? Go away, Dante. We're not moving on from the goalkeepers. He's concerned that we have two goalkeeping experts right now on the panel. He doesn't like that. Big up Coachila and everyone. DJ So much love to you, brother. Always nice to see you. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. I hope you're doing well. Let's see, Coach Jester, Roger, your thoughts on your vice president visiting the bridge. I don't know, and I don't care the reason why she visited the bridge.
She wasn't there.
We're here to talk football, and I don't care, honestly. Probably, I don't want to talk about that.
It was her husband. It was her husband. It wasn't
her
her
husband? Okay, you see that? Yeah, the chairman has spoken. We have to figure out who's the chairman of the goalkeepers union right now. We have 2 experts, so Roger's place is a threat, in my opinion. If we ever sign another goalkeeper, Diogo Costa for me, not a bad shout, and I'm still not sure about his ability on the ball. I think DJ has once talked about that he's actually considerably good with his feet, but I need to find out myself. Let's see anything else here. De Gea is available. Nope, I don't want his dramas. The high-profile mistakes every now and then. But that's by the way. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up. Roger, I don't know if you have anything to add. We've talked about has that been linked with a move to Real Madrid. To us, we just analyzed that, and right now it's absolute nonsense. 1, Chelsea wouldn't want to sell. 2, Madrid wouldn't risk spending that much money on a player and then end up experiencing another case of Eden Hazard. I don't think that happens. But if you want to add to that before we move on to the match review, you go ahead.
Sounded like clickbait material to me.
And that's it for you.
Affirmative.
Okay, Roger, let's talk about the game now. You watched it before we even look at the numbers. Would you say it was a deserved win for us, or do you think we got lucky?
No, I think the scoreline pretty much summed it up. I think both teams should have been awarded a PK. I thought this was quite, how shall I put this? It was reflective of how we've been. It proves one thing, that if we do get relegated, I think we can compete in the championship and get promoted once more. Too soon, gentlemen? Too soon? No, I'm just jesting, of course. Listen, we're playing against a team that's 20 plus places lower than us, give or take. The scoreline should have reflected this. I was a bit concerned at some points. I think that this game, the more times I watch a few players play, it confirms what we see is what we get. And that's a lot of positives, by the way, with a Palmer, for instance, with an Enzo. Enzo looked very up for this game. He looked refreshed. He looked energized.
So the rest of the break worked.
Yeah, he definitely, listen, he's been looking leggy lately, and I think that was not the case last night. He looked very much up for. He looked like a rejuvenated player, dare I say. Listen, Palmer, I thought was impressive. I'm a bit despondent with my cousin Sterling. I think what we see is what we get. Listen, he's had a couple of outstanding performances this season, but they are so few and far between.
Once every 6-7 games, but this time, this one actually came early.
Listen,
go ahead.
It was a lovely finish. I'll give him that. It was a clinical finish. It was, how shall I put this? He didn't panic. He looked very much in control, like he's been there before, which is more than we can say for Jackson thus far. And he is the other side of the coin. He missed the point that put it over the bar and roughly around the 6-yard box. An informed striker buries that, or at least tests the keeper. He did neither. I'm beginning to wonder.
He's struggling with confidence.
Yeah. Listen, when you saw him in preseason, the opponent is irrelevant because he looked composed, as did Sterling with his finish. Since this regular season has started, he has been anything but composed. So you can be playing against an amateur team, a Real Madrid. It's irrelevant. Your composure it is not pertinent to the level of opposition you're playing for the most part. Obviously, I'm exaggerating my point. And he looks like the antithesis of a player that we saw in preseason. I'm not sure whether that's psychological, whether this is the real Jackson we're seeing more consistently than not, and whether the preseason was an aberration, but it certainly appears to be the case. And I find that rather disconcerting.
Just quickly, before I go to Justice,
I just want to say one thing. The one person that really I was very pleased with was Badiashile, not because of his scoring. He looked more like a number 9 than Jackson did. He took that shot. Most centre backs will blast it into the defender's feet.
You say the fact that he didn't go for power.
No, he placed it. He looked composed.
Yeah, and he saw the space. He was deliberate. He saw the space.
No, of course it was.
Yeah,
without a shadow of doubt. But what he brought defensively, not offensively, defensively, he made a beautiful long range pass on the floor for the most part. But Jackson was unfortunately offside in the first quarter of the game. He looked like the Badiashile that I recall, and that's a wake up call for Colwell, perhaps. But I think it'd be Disasi and Colwell eventually that will be a partnership. But I was really pleased to see him back. He, to me, was one of the players that I was looking forward to. And once our manager stated that he wants to win this, and it's obvious because you're looking at this trophy as a makeable trophy on paper. I think Petrovic will start in the FA Cup as opposed to this cup because he'll be given that time to shine. I was quite pleased with this performance for the most part, but there were parts. And by the way, Reece, he looked like a man possessed, and I thought the substitutions were on spot at the 60th. Obviously, it was illustrated and emphasized by the fact we just went 2-0 up. But I thought his taking off of Badiashile and Reece for, shall we call this man management, I thought was well timed indeed. I thought that to me was a very important time to relieve them.
Yeah, before I go to Justus, I'll have you answer this question, and then I'll give those in the chat the microphone. I'll come back to Justus, and then we'll move on from there. What I wanted to ask you is this, Jackson. What was that? The question I wanted to ask you again. Ooh, I just lost this, Roger. You did.
Sorry,
this.
Coach. Can I? No. I would love to take credit for that. By the way, that to me is onside.
Why didn't I write it down? Something came to mind that I wanted to ask you.
Can I put it on my resume?
I'll come back to you. Let me just get what we have in the chat right now.
Sorry,
I'll come back to you, Roger. No worries, but it happens. Sorry, who Real Madrid won from Chelsea? Just rumors. You know what we do here. We get those rumors. We'll analyze them, come to a sensible conclusion, and educate our fans and let them know we think that a particular rumor is absolute nonsense, or horse doo-doo if you prefer. Jackson is not a striker. Man should perfect his trade as a winger or supporting striker. Cannot strike the ball to save his life. We signed him as a striker. I don't think he told us he was a striker, in my opinion, if you ask me that question. But I think it will come good. It will take time from what I've seen. It looks like he's a very emotional individual. He's that sort of what's his name, Alvaro Morata kind of person. Every little thing like this, it takes him a while to come back from it. Another player being Andres Christensen, a very emotional player. 2-0, against Blackburn. Embarrassing. You should hear how many goals they scored before they met us. They actually they had good opportunities in that game, actually. And kudos to them, they came to win. They didn't defend it. Are we talking about Reece James? Did anyone hear Fabrizio Romano? Yeah, we read that too. We talked about the rumors, and then we read Fabrizio Romano's comments, and that Chelsea aren't ready to sell him right now. YouTube channel regarding Reece James, we did. Chelsea have told Real he's not for sale. Very much a part of a Poch's plan, and you can say the entire the project in itself, in my opinion, not opinion, actually fact, according to Fabrizio Romano. He's not struggling with confidence. He is struggling with his quality. You can say part of it, but the fact remains, I think right now, the Jackson we've seen in the last two games actually isn't anywhere close to the Jackson we saw for the first 2-3 games he played for us in the league, where he does everything well. The only thing he didn't do very well at the time was just put away the chances that came his way. But right now, he's not even making decisive runs that much. Again, too much in a hurry to get a goal or something like that. He lacks that killer instinct in a striker. Yep, you could argue that too, and I agree with you. He's not him. I never said he was him. And the only thing I would say right now is that here's the thing, and I'm not saying you said I said he was him. Here's the thing. What I'm trying to say right now is that Jackson will come good, but Jackson alone will not suffice. As we're not using the Nkunku excuses anymore. Nkunku, I've always said, isn't the sole solution, but if he comes back, we'll be stronger. That's what we've been saying here. If we win the League Cup, can we still play in the Europa Conference League from the Championship? We could. Yeah, that happens. What club was that? That former Belgian coach, was it Wigan? They won either the FA Cup or the other one, and the same year they got relegated, right? Was it Wigan?
Wigan, indeed. Good memory, Coach.
Yeah, thank you. Coach forgot his tap-in. Yeah, I did a tap-in to Kim, so then he can tell you that. Coachila, he is so poor with one-time finishing. That can now be confidence. But no,
it is.
Just look at his demeanor on the pitch.
This position is confidence based. It's a lot of most analysts, most former number 9s will tell you it's all about the roller coaster of being confident.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I'm trying to remember the question I wanted to ask Roger, but I'm going to go to Uncle Justice right now. Justice, let's hear your observations from that particular game. A deserved win, first of all, and anything else you want to talk about with regards to the game. You have the floor to review the game for us. We're listening.
Sure. First of all, I don't know how people got these scores, because the game I watched, not a lot of players played to this level. So I don't know if winning the game.
You did say that to me on Twitter too when I talked about Leslie. Yeah, but go ahead.
I guess when you win the game, you get a 2-point bump.
At least.
Because what I saw in the first half, there's no way that most of these players were this good. We can go through them one by one. Like I said, I wanted Sterling off the pitch at halftime. He was that bad in the first half. Walking, losing the ball, didn't seem interested. But apparently now, if you score a goal in the second half, you've had a good game.
Yeah,
I remember when that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Jackson, it is a confidence thing. You know, I hear that it's 75% mental and 25% physical. Well, back in my day, it was 99% mental and 1% physical. If this ain't right, your body is not going to do what it's supposed to do. I'm sorry. You have to have this right before you can get on the pitch and be a professional athlete.
And just for those that are listening and are not looking at on the screen, if you're mentally something isn't correct mentally, every other thing you do won't go the right way. I hope I'm not misquoting you.
No, that's correct.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, if you're not right in your head, how many people you know are not right in their head and can't live a regular life? And now you're not right in your head and you're trying to be a professional athlete, move a country that you haven't lived in before, and you're the talisman, you're the striker for Chelsea Football Club. You don't think that could be weighing on a young man at all? We're going to disregard that. And because he's had a horrible start to his Chelsea career, let's just bin him. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Do you think Jackson alone will be enough? Or do you think
we need a striker.
Okay.
We need a striker. He needs to be given the not the second striker role, but the backup striker role, so he can develop without any pressure. Right now, he has to score.
That's a delicious comment of the day. Go ahead.
Cole Palmer, hey, he deserves the 8.1. Other than Enzo Fernandez, probably our only other creative outlet in the entire team. Reece James, when he gets back fit 100% and gets some games in him, can create as well. But bar Palmer and Fernandez, tell me who else other than our back line tried to create. Gallagher does not create anything. Ugochukwu is not a creator. He's there for defensive purposes. So basically, if the ball didn't come from Enzo or Cole Palmer, we weren't going to do anything. And that will change once Nkunku comes back. And once you get Mudryk in there as well, because those players can get their own anytime they want, and they can get it for somebody else. Okay? You got to have a bunch of those players on the pitch. That's what City has. They have a number of players who can make their own space, and they can create space for others. And by space, I mean scoring opportunities, because if you're not in space, it's kind of hard to score. As far as the back line, I thought Disasi was at least 2 times I can remember got absolutely burned by a championship player, and I like Disasi, but he got burned twice, turned by a championship player.
Yeah.
No, it can't happen. Badiashile, thank you for coming back. I've had this argument for the entire season. Benoit Badiashile is a better center back right now than Levi Caldwell, because he's better defensively.
More experience too, I think. But I think Levi Caldwell is still good. He's still an excellent player, and we can only become better. But go ahead.
Because I'm praising Badiashile and saying he's better than Caldwell, it doesn't mean Caldwell's trash. It means Caldwell is not that level yet, because he hasn't played first-tier football for 1 year, and he didn't even play a whole lot of games. So he has talent, but there's a couple things with Caldwell. Not very quick. So he better be really good on his positioning, because he's not catching back up to somebody. His positioning needs to be worked on. And he needs to, and this is all stuff that comes with experience. This is not slating somebody. This person needs to work on this. It's constructive criticism. It's not, this person will never be anything. And every time I say something, and certain people like to think that I am saying he's terrible. I'm not. He is not as good as Badiashile. At this point, Monday, Badiashile and Thiago Silva should be our starting pairing.
Yeah, I wouldn't actually mind seeing the Sassi and Badiashile in my opinion. But let me sorry, were you still speaking, Justice?
Yeah, I just want to go through a couple more players. Cucurella, hey, my guy. I apologize for anything mean I've ever said about you.
Mm-hmm.
You're finally showing what we saw at Bright. Thank you. Enzo being Enzo, the man ran the show. And the reason he was taking those shots at the end of the game, he was pissed that more players weren't making runs for him to play them in. So he's just shooting after a while. Because we had a very static front line. Gallagher, bro, I hate to tell you this, but when Carney becomes fit and Nkunku's there and Lavia's back, you're going to be slicing them oranges in the kitchen with, what Callum Hudson-Odoi used to do.
We'll find out. We'll find out. Here's the thing. I have to be honest with you. I think because he differs. Here's the thing I want to say quickly. I'll let you continue. Is this Gallagher? He's not my favorite player at Chelsea. Honestly, if I were the manager, I don't think he'd be starting. But given the manager's pattern to the manager's selection right now and what he offers, more importantly, is different. That you can't get that from Lavia in terms of his energy, ball winning ability, and pressing and all that. You can't get that from Lavia. You can't get that from Chukwuemeka. Whoever else, nobody else in the team offers that, and that's why I think we're not going to find out whether he has a place in this team until those players are fit enough. That's when we'll find out. Right now, I get your opinion there. I get where you're going with that. As much as he's not my favorite player at Chelsea, it's hard to say what happens. But go ahead if you were still talking.
Right. We do actually have a player that can do those things, same things. His name is Moises Caicedo. So you could play a midfield of Leslie, Enzo Fernandez, and Moises Caicedo, and let Moises Caicedo do what Gallagher does. I'm guaranteed he'll be better at it. I think he'll be better at it because he's a better player. So I think Gallagher's time in the squad's coming to an end. Basically, we were told he was played because they needed an English-speaking captain on the pitch. And I don't know why, because if you look at last week, who did everybody go to see who was going to take the penalty? Did they go to Conor Gallagher and say, hey, Connors, who's going to take this penalty? Who did they go to? Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez settled it.
That's interesting. I didn't really pay attention to what happened on the pitch.
Yeah. When it was Sterling and Sterling and Palmer were going deciding who was going to take the penalty, they both looked at Enzo, and Enzo says he's taking it, and Palmer stepped up and put it in the back of the net. That's what the captain does.
How about if I throw this? How about if I throw this theory at you? Anyway, it doesn't make sense. I was going to say, how about Enzo? You could say currently the designated penalty taker, and the manager given the task of choosing who he wants to take it if he's not willing to take it. But right now, we're not too sure what's happening. Lots of uncertainties. We don't know who the designated penalty taker is, except if Cole Palmer takes the next one, then maybe he's the one.
Coach, just to clarify, Pochettino confirmed that the journalist asked after the last game, not this one, about the designated penalty taker, and they were quoting that it's like an incident. He said no. For now, he has allowed the players to decide among themselves who want to take the penalty. And he has led them to decide on the feeling who is the goalkeeper. So he said, as for now, there is no designated penalty taker. So I just wanted to confirm that.
I'm not sure I agree with that approach to it, but yeah, he did actually say that in the presser. So I was quite shocked.
Yeah, me too. Doesn't make sense, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let me catch up. What?
It makes sense.
It does?
Christopher Nkunku will be our penalty taker at the moment. We don't have Nkunku. But as soon as he come back, I'm telling you, he'll be our penalty taker.
Yeah.
Right. Is he good at it?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Let me give those in the chat the microphone. I'll come back to Bob. Then we can continue to the next thing we have to talk about. And please go check out Uncle Jester's YouTube channel and the Beautiful Game. Thank you so much for sharing the link the second time now. Please keep doing it as much as you can. But you should go check out Uncle Jester's YouTube channel. Then please before the link. That way people can go to that. And we have Jackson has made some 5 out of 5 clear-cut cutbacks that he has solved this season. This is a technical deficiency. He cannot shoot. I think it's time to come to that conclusion. In my opinion, I haven't yet. And the Blue Bridge, Max, I appreciate you joining. I hope you're doing well. You know what to do. Share the link to your channel so people can go check it out. Evening, guys. I disagree with Justice about the Sterling. Yes, he was poor. First half, but after his goal, he came alive. Okay, but Justice said specifically he was poor first half. For me, I'm just going to go again and say this. He's not consistent enough for me. That's the only problem I have for him. I don't want a situation where every other game he performs, and then the rest he's absolute horse doo-doo. I have him more yellow cards than goals is deep. He just needs to get out of his head. There is a beast in there somewhere. I strongly believe that in terms of Jackson. But I'm going to say this: will Jackson alone be enough? I'd say no. What makes it worse is and there's no hiding place in this team. Sorry to say that. Yep, it's not like we have other strikers who you can say another striker who can come in, do an excellent job, and then we'll forget about him. And whenever he comes in, we just support him and hope he picks up form. Badi is just different. Badiashile is an excellent player, very intelligent, reads the game very well. He's not the quickest, I must say, but he's just like Thiago Silva. And for me, I think he's well positioned to become the successor to Thiago Silva in terms of leading that back line, given his ability to read the game, be at the right place at the right time, and ensure we don't suffer any damages. That was a delicious comment about Chelsea, Miss Creativity, and about Badiashile from Uncle Justice. Let's see what else we have here. I like our new panelist coach. I also like orange juice. Just go. Sorry, Lavia is a butcher. That's just your opinion. I think Lavia is good. And I'm going to say this quickly. Of all the players we'll have, if we need a 6 that's able to beat the press and has good passing range in him, Lavia is the guy. And also can break up opposition play too. Casado is good, but in terms of beating the press, and also you could say playing out from the back, I think Lavia will help us do that even better. He's a better dribbler, in my opinion. Yeah, see you soon. I know you're a Newcastle fan. See you soon. We'll talk about this game soon. Sterling played a hoot game. His effort level was more than usual, and to be honest, he was one of players who looked likely to score yesterday. Some comments right there. One small clarification, Jerry. Did Poch say Palmer is up and out to take her? If he's on the pitch, if Palmer is not on the pitch, then players can decide amongst themselves. You have a response to that, Jerry? Quickly,
No.
So I can catch up with what we have.
Pochettino said that there is no designated penalty taker right now, and the players can decide among themselves. That's all. That's what he said.
All right. Thank you again for clarifying.
I'm paraphrasing. Maybe not his exact words. I'm paraphrasing.
All right.
Pretty much that, yeah.
I'd love to see the Liverpool Sterling again. Yeah, he was excellent for them at the time. Took a half for Sterling to warm up. Then yes, he played good against inferior oppositions. Teams in EPL doesn't count to his 7 games. Oh, there you go. You're the one that constructed that theory. So now I understand it better. Max, that's DJ Saf saying hello to you. I hope you're doing well. It's been ages mid. Yep. Truthfully, I haven't seen Max in a while, but he was here a few days ago. Sterling was better after our first goal. Okay. Some people there. Deba is saying our attacking movement and positional awareness is so poor. It needs to be improved upon. Broya needs to stay fit. Less his Chelsea career will be tank, and we'll tank. Yes, then I think I agree. Our positional, you could say, lack of, you could say, decisive movement in the opposition box and all that, making good runs and all that in behind the lines. And Palmer seemed to find passes, but we're not making good runs. Every time he looks up, nobody is making that sort of runs you see from Man City players. I think maybe lack of chemistry. With time, we'll find out. There's not many players I would offer an extension to right now, but I would definitely extend Badiashile. He's already signed it to 2048. You want to move it to 2077? What are you doing? Players to decide what is Poch trying to prove by this. What does he want to? I think we need to have a designated penalty taker before it becomes an issue. But how can you offer extension to someone who's already on a 10-year? Exactly, that's the point I was making. Bobby, if you're there, your observations from the game, a deserved win from you. Do you think it was a good game? Let's hear you, Bobby. Before Bobby comes around, once he's done, we will talk about the formation.
Yeah, sorry, Coach.
Yeah, go ahead.
What was this about yesterday's game?
Yeah,
Yes,
your observations. It's your time to review the game. You have about 3 minutes or two. Just go ahead, review the game. What are your observations from the game?
Yeah, I'll be quick. As far as I'm concerned, and I think very much from Pochettino's unspoken mind, that was a good training exercise for the Spurs game. There were aspects of the game that I'm glad were exposed, where players kind of ran into the same positions and almost collided with each other. These are the telltale signs of the fact that we are still very much a team in development. Strangers getting to know each other, positionally and otherwise. We gave run-outs to some returning injuries, Badiashile and Reece James. We've already spoken at length about Reece James. But
Mhm.
Badiashile was an interesting run-out. Somebody said he's not the quickest. Oh, I didn't think he was the slowest either.
No,
I'm not too
he's,
sure.
he's just between, but he's not the quickest. But his
Yeah,
biggest the advantage is that he reads the game so well and will always be at the right
he,
place at the right time. You won't even get a chance to race against him, let alone outpace him. He's just like
yeah,
Thiago
his
Silva in
ball
that aspect. But go
distribution,
ahead.
his long ball distribution is excellent. He's good in the air, and look, he can score the odd goal, which is what we've been looking for from our defensive lineup.
Mhm.
Another defender that I did observe quite considerably, and albeit it was against this weakened opposition, but is Desassi. You know, he reminds me a little bit of Rudiger. When Rudiger first came with his injuries and getting used to the Premier League, people didn't rate him. In fact, there was a time Chelsea fans were even happy to see him go and were clamouring for his sale, especially when he was still recuperating from injury. But look how that turned out. I think Desassi is on the same ilk. I think he's going to be that sort of defender. People are very bandwagon in our
Yeah,
fan base. You know, the one person says something, they all concur, and then they follow on and they label players.
They
This
don't
is this
challenge.
guy's Yeah, this is his first season. He had no preseason. He joined the team on the fly. It's a new team. Everybody's new. Everybody's getting to know each other. The positional rehearsals was something that was exposed yesterday. It's not that there is a lack of rehearsals, it's just that instinctive thing of you knowing your teammates. Oh, so and so. I've rehearsed so much with him that I know that when the ball's coming like this, he's likely to make this run. So I'll make this run. And then he himself will know, oh, if I make this run, so and so is going to make this run. So it all comes with a feel, it all comes with a rehearsal, it all comes with playing with each other over and over and over again, such that your muscle memory reads your mental memory, your visual memory, and everything coordinates. And this is what makes a team play in rhythm and in sync. And this is where we are. We are still in pre-season with players coming back into pre-season. The other day somebody, or was it when I was saying, look, I'm not sure about this Newcastle game. So I think I was having a Twitter conversation with Max Burton, and he was saying, well, at least maybe Nkunku will be back then. And I was like, well, he'll be back. There's been back and there's been back. He'll be back, but it's like he's starting pre-season all over again, and he's starting to rehearse himself with the team all over again, not to mention the Premier League that he hasn't even played in. And he's playing against a Premier League top team. Look, I don't know. It's going to take us time. Yesterday was an example of that. You also said, Coach, that oh gosh, my trend of thought has gone. Really, I was going to pick a point that you made, which I really agreed with about the.
It's Roger's
Uh,
fault.
no. Okay, I've got it now. It's back with me. You're talking about the fact that look, Nkunku coming back is not the answer. Jackson finding his feet is not going to be the sole answer. That was the point you were making, and you're quite right. We need the whole team. The whole team needs to be working together for us to have the answer. Yes, we need one. I still think we need a good striker. You know, we haven't. I think that good striker might already be with us. It's just the kid is never fit at the moment. That's Brozier.
hmm
And we need, I think we probably need that tricky, inventive goal scoring stroke, uh, uh, close control playing midfielder. Now you can say we have that already in the form of Cole Palmer and Chukwemeka. Yes, we do, but there's always room for just that little X factor player. That Kudus, which I watched yesterday, I was thinking, oh gosh, why didn't we get this guy? Now I know it was only one game, and I know his goal was rather fortuitous, and many people would say it was more about a goalkeeping error than his goal itself. But the fact is that he is instinctive. He did something that most Chelsea players don't do. He got the ball one time, swiveled, shot one time, and it was on target. And when you're on target, you're likely to score. You know, those little sort of instinctive game-changing moments is the player we need. Have we got that in Cole Palmer? Well, in a different sort of way. Have we got that in Carney? Yes, in a different sort of way. Carney's close control is excellent. His finishing is good. He does suddenly snap up and he'll shoot and score. Yes. Can we do with that extra player like that? I think we can. Some earlier on we spoke about rotation. We spoke about how, fortunately, on the right hand side, we can afford not to give Reece James 90 minutes because we've got another guy who can come in and is almost equally as good. And he, being Gusto, who's only 19, we can also give him the opportunity not to be flogged and overplayed. So that depth of squad which warrants rotation is something we still need. So coming back to yesterday, it was, could it have been better? Yes. Did we do well by not conceding? Yes, we were a bit fortunate. And actually, Sanchez, who we've been criticizing, is probably one of the reasons we didn't concede. I've heard criticism of 19-year-old Ugo Chukwu, which I find absolutely ridiculous. And it's no coincidence that we always look that little bit more defensively solid when he's playing DM. Oh, I wonder why that is. Look, you know, he's using my brother Roger's terms. This guy's a fetus, and he's a fetus that is also developing. But he's a damn good fetus, and we shouldn't give up on these sort of players that we have in our process of developing. So as we develop, and as we've had our little rehearsal and little tactical exercise, I hope that the game against Blackburn puts us in good stead for a crucial game against Spurs. And just to drop, what really lightens my mood about that was Levi Colwell coming out and saying, "Yeah, we can do it. We can beat Spurs." Now, when a player in your team says that, that has to be a good thing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bobby. I appreciate that. I was going to ask you, Bobby, the back line, if you're still there. Did you see enough to say we don't need Thiago Silva against Sports? If you're there.
Look, we're always going to need Thiago Silva, and I'm quite sure Pochettino will play him against Spurs because of his experience and the fact that Poch likes him. So I very much expect a Silva Colwill centre back pairing. However, it was important that we tried Desasi with his old teammate Badiashile, which was something I wanted to see. And Badiashile obviously couldn't play the 90 minutes. He's just coming back. And, you know, the exercise, stretching his legs
Did he? I
would
think he
be...
finished the game.
No, 60
No,
minutes.
he came off
61 minutes.
for
Yeah,
Colwill.
61. Yeah.
For Cole. And, you know, I think, you know, that exercise wouldn't do him any harm at all. I wouldn't be. I keep telling people, you know, people keep talking about, oh, he can't play with Cole. Well, I think he can. You
Yeah.
don't need to be left-footed or right-footed as a centre back. You just need to be good enough. And boy, it's a rarity, yes, but I think it'll be an interesting partnership playing two left footers as centre backs. I would like to see it. I'm sure they should be rehearsing it on the training ground because there's going to come a time they might have to do that. So be prepared. But yeah, coming back to your question, one game won't be enough to see as to how much we can do without Colwill, but without
Silva.
Silva. But it's good it's happened. But definitely starting against Spurs, he's going to bring Silva back in. Is that the right call? Time will tell. I have had some doubts about Silva in some games in terms of his physicality or lack thereof. He's not that young Thiago Silva that would use his agility to compensate for, his lack of physicality against the big guys. And the older he is, the more easily I'm seeing him getting shoved off the ball. But he's a wily old geezer. He still has some excellent technical skills, excellent positional skills. He's a commander, he's a leader. And against Spurs, he's probably going to be quite important for us. And at least we've got people on the bench that can come in for him. So, we hope and pray because they're a damn good team. But I'll tell you what, if we can overturn them, then we should have a lot of hope for this team, a lot more hope than we have already.
Yeah, Roger, just quickly, I'll come back to you in a bit. Roger,
Sure.
just give me 1 minute. Broya is going the other way when we buy another striker. Most definitely that will happen because he's still very young, and I think he needs to be playing. Let's see what else we have here. I was shocked with the stat yesterday. We had a chance inside 7 seconds. Gallagher gave a Fabregas pass from a kickoff, and Jackson looked like on a Costa run. All was good until Jackson first touch. Yeah, he actually surprisingly he has a good first touch. They called Rudy a snake. Can you imagine? And no, I wouldn't call Rudy a snake. But the only thing I would say is that if he wanted to stay, he would have stayed. You don't need to have a conversation with the new owners before deciding whether you stay or not. It's just sad Broya has an opportunity to bench Jackson. We need one elite striker and creative forward winger, and the attack is in Kunku. Chelsea will get there once Nkunku returns. I think I agree with you. Let's see. Broya might still have a chance until January if he can get on and stay on the pitch. I doubt he's good enough, in my opinion. In your opinion, let's see what happens. Would have been nice to see Washington yesterday, but instead, Poch brings on Casado again. I don't know why that happened actually, and I told you guys that
Can I
David
explain
Washington
why that
wasn't going to
happened?
start. Yeah, go
Please,
ahead.
because I can see, if you notice, Poch is, sorry, I don't think Washington was sort of part of the plan A or plan B for the team. He's just finding his way in because of our offensive deficiencies, and he's beginning to squeeze himself into a plan B position. I think yesterday was a lot of uh, tactical exercise. And one of the things that Poch has been doing with his midfield, which is becoming, it was once Chelsea's weakest base, but it's becoming perhaps the strongest base, is
Yep.
that he is alternating young Ugochukwu with Caicedo, getting them to play in each other's place, especially defensively. So he was focusing on that quite a bit, and rightly so, because that kid, he is very young, extremely young for the responsibility of position that he has, but he plays it very well. And he has made himself an able deputy for Caicedo. And yesterday, I think at one point, he even played with Caicedo. So he's doing a lot of things with the midfield. 1 minute, no Enzo coming off, Caicedo, Ugochukwu, Enzo, Ugochukwu, Caicedo, Enzo, which is the preferred choice. All these little permutations with Gallagher, all rotating, feeling comfortable, so that by the time Lavia steps in, that becomes another part of a very, very efficient engine room. That cogwheel of midfield he's working very, very hard with. The defense seems a little bit more settled because the tactical positioning of the defenders is less complicated, albeit it still needs rehearsals. So I think that's why why he did that, and why we didn't particularly see um, Washington. I don't
David
think he,
Washington.
yeah, I think he likes him. That's why he's kept him. But I don't think he's viewing it as much of an urgent priority as the midfield and perhaps the defense.
I think his time will come. He's gotten the chance to play on two occasions or so. His time will come. But I knew he wasn't going to start yesterday, and I did explain the reason why I thought he wasn't going to start yesterday was that Jackson going through a mini goal drought. The manager will see yesterday's game as an opportunity to see if they will sort that out. Unfortunately for me, it didn't happen. By the way, any idea why did Poch substitute Jackson for a defensive player? I call it negative, or was he afraid of Arsenal kind of comeback? Maybe. And when that's the case, managers take a precautionary measures until the team gains full confidence. Then, yeah, you bring in another attacker to go get another striker. But since the team, you could say, a bit of a confidence issue, he doesn't want to risk so much. Even that wasn't the case even if that wasn't the case, until he trusts them well enough to say, okay, we need more goal and not defend what we have. Right now, you can say I don't blame him that much because he wants the young team to, you can say, to grow in confidence before start taking too much risk. That triangle of the Sasiba, Badiashile, Leslie looks very good. Leslie, with time, will push someone to the kitchen, and believe me, he's good. Play him consistently, and you see how good he can be. He is, and he do more for the team because he played consistently. What's his name? His team, Rennes, I think, was it Rennes? And he helped them achieve a Champions League place. That's how good the kid can be. It was just Blackburn. Badiashile is not match fit. Yeah, I agree he's not match fit. But he's an excellent player in my opinion. Draw incoming. This team cannot win against the Big Six. I think we can if the manager can look at the games we drew and see why we didn't beat Arsenal, even though we were 2 goals up. A CB cannot play 90 minutes because they run so much. Yeah, right. If you fit, if you fit your play as simple, I hated that mentality. Let's see what else we have here. Broya is a better striker than Jackson. Please stay fit, Broya. I hope he stays fit so we can find out. Right now, I don't think so until we see for ourselves. Why Gallagher was getting a run into the ground and he keeps him on for 90 minutes and takes his captaincy away because James was on the pitch. It's a simple logic, really. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes
Do
to
you not
go a
think
long way.
Gallagher was a little bit tired yesterday?
Just 1 second. Yeah, he looks tired, and I thought he was going to be rested, in my opinion. You have a keen eye for delicate matters, Dante. Let's see what else we have here. So Washington was good enough to come on against Brentford when we were down. Chasing 1 goal. Okay. Chasing 1 game. But not against Blackburn. I'm not sure when I'm able to answer that question, but I get your point right there. I keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. 35 likes, not so many views, but that's okay. And that's because we've not been streaming consistently enough. But that's by the way, Roger, let me ask you this. I hope I haven't forgotten what I want to ask Roger right now. Oh my God. What was that again? I wrote down 2 other stuff, but the one I really wanted to ask you, I didn't know right now. What's going on here? But go ahead. Anybody else want to speak about anything else? You should go on with it. I think I'll figure.
I want to mention one thing.
Roger.
Sorry, go for it.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to talk about the game. What I've realized recently about Chelsea against low blocks team, if you don't score first, we're going to struggle. Also, people are saying that we're not creating enough chances. For example, look at the Brentford game. How many chances Palmer created in the first half? Those went to Sterling and then Marco Cucurella. If we should have scored those goals, I'm telling you, Brentford would have been more open. Maybe we're looking for equalizer. Then our attackers will have more space to create goals or score goals. So at the moment, I think, man, we need to fix our scoring opportunities, should I say that? Because we look so bad. Even Sterling yesterday, I won't lie, even he scored that goal. He was horrible. He was horrible. So hopefully against Spurs, he step it up. He step it up because I'm so tired of our players and not doing enough. We create enough chances sometimes. They are not clinical. So overall, Roger, up to you, man.
Okay,
Now,
just 1 second. I think I remember the question. I'll come back
sure.
to you just a few seconds. I actually wrote it down. Let's see. I like the way Leslie left that boot in on his debut. Vieira, Scholes, and Keane did the same thing, and everyone stayed away from them for their whole career. Okay, Coach Dante is correct. There was a time when Gallagher was on the pitch. Reece James was being substituted and handed the captain's band to Enzo. Might be for kid celebration, maybe. But did he use it? The only time I saw him was when he dropped it on the carpet. In my opinion, let's see what else we have here. Gallagher has a serious battle on his hand. Palmer, Carney, and Nkunku. Once an elite striker comes in, interesting times ahead. I think that's a better way to you can say to put it. Not to say Gallagher is done once those players come back, just to say, yeah, he has a battle in his hand. I'll take that. Yeah,
Yeah, so be it.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
That's how I want to see it. So whoever wins, yeah, has a spot, has a place in the team. Coach, what has happened to your tapping game today? You're moving like Jackson. Just go away. You can say I'm moving like the entire Chelsea attacking front line, and that's because we're not good at tappings really. We see crosses, you could say, just breeze up through the face of goal, and nobody will be there to tap it in. So it's not just a coach's problem. All of us. Coach wants to avoid embarrassing with the score line, and it's doing ole. Just go away. I think you guys are in the chat today to have a go at me. Roger, here's a question I want to ask you. I think we should round off with that one. The question
no,
is,
coach. Just before Roger comes, sorry, Roger. I just want
No,
to
no,
say
never.
one thing I didn't like yesterday is this over reliance on Sterling, who really is not that guy. So that was why I was sort of salivating for for Kudus, because we were giving the ball to, it was like everything was going to Sterling, who just is not that guy. And it was distressing. It really was. He scored, yeah, almost fortuitously, but it's not it for me. Nah, we just need someone else. Not him, not him. Not even Nkunku. Nkunku is not that guy to be given the ball and to be made to dribble and make the play constantly. Mudrik can be occasionally, but he's still a fetus, as Roger would say, and he's still developing. So that is a concern. Yeah.
Bobby,
if anyone
he's
is close, to being that guy right now, it's Palmer.
different
Yeah,
Yeah,
start,
but
different
doesn't he?
profile.
different
Yeah,
problem.
that's
But
what I was
that's why I
saying.
said
He
if
needs
anyone is
to be
close to,
deeper.
yeah.
Yeah, Palmer's more of the deep lying playmaker rather than that offensive hustler like the Eden Hazard kind of
Exactly.
attacker. That's not Sterling. No
Bobby,
chance.
Bobby Sterling never was the man, never has been.
No.
It's what you see is what you get. Yes, he's improved upon from last season, but let's be honest, that's a bloody low bar in the first place. It's I had my hopes up high after the first 4 or 5 games because he looked to be perhaps proving me wrong, and I wish he would. I want him to succeed. If he succeeds, we succeed. I don't have an agenda against him. I just I state what I see. That's all.
That's all.
And he's so
And he's so
inconsistent.
inconsistent.
I'm
So
hearing
maybe just
feedback.
mute if he's not speaking before you come in, because you have audio issue. Go ahead, Roger.
Yeah, it's just add water, rinse, repeat. That's all it is, coach. I must admit, it was a beautifully contrived goal, but the first half especially, most players would have been yanked by the second half. I mean, he was woeful. Um, I don't know what else to say about him. As I said, he does have positive attributes, but I believe his negative attributes far outweigh them. It's that simple, Coach. Sorry, what are you going to
I
ask?
do agree with you. I do agree with you. Let me catch up with what we have in the chat here. We all know Gallagher's getting sold. Whatever you said next, I'm not reading that one. Okay, let me put out one big improvement yesterday. We were taking shots from outside the box, and I think we were more direct than usual yesterday. Also, total shots at 22 on target, 22 and 7 on target. No, Gallagher should stay. Great to bring on when we are winning and can captain the bench.
Man.
Just go away. Tottenham always a bottle once they are favorites. They were playing without any pressure so far. What teams have they actually played? They played against Arsenal, haven't they? And it ended in a draw, right?
Can't recall. I watched it,
yeah.
but I can't recall.
Yeah, I can't quite recall too. But other than that, here's the question I wanted to ask you. Let's just deal with that one. But just quickly, Coach, will you be visiting the Breeze in person, preferably before we get relegated?
Man, that's cold.
I'm gonna use the time before we move. Anytime again I'm traveling to Africa, I have to visit the Breeze, and that will happen. I think in 2024, most likely twice, maybe it depends. But Roger, let me hear you of all the young defenders we have from this is 25. But let's talk about Badiashile, Levi Colwell, and let's talk about Wesley Fofana. Let's count him in. Which of them do you think is better suited to succeed at Thiago Silva?
I can't really base an opinion on Wesley Fofana. You would assume, when healthy, that he would be the natural successor because of positional wise, but he needs to stay healthy. He needs to be on the field for an elongated period of time. Otherwise, it's a moot point. It really is. I hate to label him as injury prone, but because one of the serious injuries was a contact injury, I believe. It was a collision injury. So, but he certainly is coming close to the stigma of being labeled this. Let's be honest. Listen, I think I would assume that Badiashile and Colwell would be the natural successors. I think they're our best two on paper. Young centre backs, but they're very young, Coach. I mean, is it possible that they could succeed? Yes, but it does help if you have a modicum, a small amount of shall we say, experience and leadership sprinkled in every position, and we don't have that. We just don't. We have 3 outfield players that are older than 25. I mean, what was our oldest player yesterday? Wasn't it Sterling?
I mean, that's Sterling, not Kukurea. Yeah, Sterling.
Yeah, Sterling. So, what does that tell you? I mean, this is a very youthful. I mean, the BBC just quoted a few former players and managers saying that they don't believe Chelsea can succeed because when you have this amalgamation of youth with virtually no experience injected into it, it can't succeed and they said that it's never succeeded in the past. I mean, yeah, you've seen the youngest winning Premier League team, I think, was Chelsea, and I think we're the oldest winning Premier League team also, but it's usually the average age is like 26, 25, and we're 23, 24. And that's with a 39-year-old in the team. What does that tell you? I mean, the age plummets down, the average age for the starting 11, to be 22, 23, low 23s. And So Bobby's right as usual. I mean, surprise, surprise. This is, for all intents and purposes, our preseason. You know, it's when you look at the amount of youthful. And by the way, this isn't just a team, as Bobby correctly said, that's been starting each day, each game, with continuity. There's been so many players starting. Look! It was Reese's only second start, if I'm not mistaken, last night, whenever. You know, it's so the centre backs. If you have a look at them, that's a good question, Coach. But I think we can succeed with Badiashile and Colwell, or even Disasi and Badiashile. Disasi, I still think, is a little bit raw at times. However, and I think currently, I believe the former gentleman that came on, the American chap, I think he's right. Currently, at this present moment in time, based on what I've seen from Badiashile and from Colwell's like, what, 8 to 10 games max? I would say at this moment in time, I would say he is slightly better than him defensively. But
in terms of overall, in terms of reading the game too.
Yeah, to a certain extent, and that's because he has played a lot more. But I would say on the ball and passing, I would say Colwell is a little bit better than Badiashile. But I like Badiashile on the ball also. That's not a criticism; it's just an observation. There's a big difference between the two. I still think it's marginal between them, but I mean, it's not gaping. Let's put it that way. And don't forget, let's put it this way: Colwell hasn't exactly been parachuted into a experienced and successful team right now. So I think it's a collection, an amalgamation of many things going wrong. And I think our future is probably Badiashile and Colwell, assuming they stay healthy. I'm not sure about Wesley Fofana. I think if he can stay healthy, hypothetically, then I think it's probably going to be Badiashile or Colwell and Wesley Fofana. I think his health will determine this equation.
All right. Thank you so much. The corners again.
What do you think?
I think I agree with you. I'm not too sure until proven otherwise in terms of Wesley Fofana.
Yeah.
The centre back pairing, I think it will be a mix of either Colwell and Disasi. I don't think it will be both, in my opinion, but we'll find out. Until proven otherwise, let's see the corners again. Again, Gala took the first few and horrible. The shooting from everyone is lacking. Enzo Poor again. It's like they don't know how to shoot up power. Put your boot up through it or your laces through it. I think I agree with you, like Coach, right? Okay, shoot like Coach. Yeah, let's see. Wesley Fofana is weakling. Let's find out what happens to him. My God, what was those corner kicks from Gallagher? I think he was very poor at it.
Yeah.
Sell Wesley Fofana? I don't think so. Even if you want to sell him, it's not going to be easy. Adebayo, let's see what else we have here. Yes, I also noticed yesterday, why are our corner kicks so horrible? To be honest, others aren't that good as well. Gallagher was also not good at it. Yeah, others aren't good. Nobody has been good with the corner kicks. Tottenham were decapitated by 9 men. Liverpool only to win with an own goal. Wow. Just because they have 26 points does not mean they are better. Honeymoon over, you think? We'll find out. We'll be the one to end it for them. I cannot decide who knows to take a corner kick, or does he leave that to players as well? Possibly. I'm not too sure. Facts, Roger. Remember that season when every player on the pitch was captain of their country.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even the
Michael Essien, Michael Ballack, all of them. I remember that one too. We had plenty of them at Chelsea at that point. Players as well. Didier Drogba. Players as well. A family reunion. Yeah. Do we still have a set piece coach? Coaches at Chelsea? It doesn't look like it. If we do, I don't know. Let's see. No, the set piece coach left for England. No, he joined Tuchel at Bayern. If we're thinking about the same person, I think the hamstring coach is deputizing. Roger, so Portugal will not be sacked if this is a preseason. I don't think it would take some awful level
No,
of
you're
performance
taking
before
that
they
out of
fire him.
context, sir.
Yeah.
It's what Bobby and I are talking about. It's as if it's their preseason because they came in either very late in the transfer window and or they haven't been available to play because of their health. So it's a simile. That's all it is.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Poch is gaining weight every day. Do I believe that? Maybe. I don't know, CFC Blue. I read on Goal, Poch is on 30 million per year. I'm not sure the number. I haven't checked really. Let's see. I cannot go on. I am exhausted, coach. Can I get some, please? Yeah, somebody. Coach, if our players cannot survive 38 games in the Premier League, how the heck are we going to cope with 46 games in the Champions League?
Ooh. Ooh. Ouch.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Coach, why is Gallagher holding the ball with both hands over his head before taking the corner kick? It's a sign. It's a sign to his teammates where he needs to kick the ball to. Yeah, players do have a way to communicate where he intends to put the ball. It's a sign for team. Yeah, it's a sign. Yeah, or is he asking her for anyone wanting to know? I don't think so. It's a sign with regards to where he wants to put it. Jesse's on fire today. Bobby, anything else you want to say so we can call it a day? And I have to go pick up my boy. We'll do another show tomorrow. Match prediction show. You there, Bobby?
Yeah, I was just answering, if our players can't cope with 38 games of the Premier League, how can they cope with 46? Well, as we've said, these are young fledglings about to be developed into a proper team. And they haven't even had the players to cope with the 38 games. A lot of them are returning injuries. So I'm not sure that's a fair statement. It really isn't. When you compare us to the teams that are fit, well, and hearty, it's night and day. It really is.
Yeah,
Coach, can I
Richard.
just quickly say
Yeah, go
something
ahead.
very
Yeah, I was going
briefly?
to ask anything else you want to say. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. First of all, by the way, the beautiful game. When you say in Spanish you're on fire, it's El Fuego. See, I know that from ESPN.
El Fuego.
Yeah. Sorry, that was weak.
Okay,
I just want to say something.
That.
I want to say something serious about when I stated at the beginning when I first came on. Another player that, in a positive attribute that I've recognized this season, the more you see him play, and that's Cucurella. He's definitely not the same player he was last year.
No,
I think it's about 7 games now. He is completely the anathema of what he was last season. He seems far more disciplined, far more self-assured. Yeah, he doesn't even. I would say it's Cucurella. I would say the same for sure with Gallagher. I would say the same with Palmer thus far. And obviously Enzo. These people are definitely, we're getting to realize from the repetition of games we're seeing that what we're seeing is exactly what we're going to get in a good way, very positive way, by the way. And they're only going to improve, I'm sure.
Here's something I saw on Twitter, and I'm happy. Somebody said that Palmer is an upgrade to Mason Mount and Kai Havertz combined.
Yeah. I saw that.
My goodness, what an intelligent player he is. I still can't stop raving about him.
I mean, Coach, I watched him quite a few times play for City in the last year or so. Like, if you recall, last year he started, I think, both games versus Chelsea in the cup games, and he was their best player. And I mean, we were waxing lyrical about Hall, but
why did they sell him?
It's unbelievable. Well, his ethos is if a player wants to leave,
Pep,
he would never stop. Yeah, Pep, and I get that. But would he let Messi go if he was 23? No, he bloody wouldn't. He'd handcuff him to his bed. As simple as that. It's like, I don't buy that. But listen, Palmer probably doesn't see a pathway to starting in this league on that strength of that team that is a treble winning team, and in all likelihood stand a good chance of defending as European champions. Not that I think it's likely, but it's a strong possibility. It's a very good team they have there, even with a few injuries. It's a very hard path for him to achieve, let alone a starting, consistent basis. And I think he understands and probably appreciates what's going on with Chelsea, with this new, shall we say, revolution, with their understanding, with a youthful approach to it. And he probably was advised, and rightfully so, that this would be the best chance for you to, shall we say, exhibit your skill levels. And I think that's the reason. Go for it, Bobby.
Can I add to what you're saying there,
Always, sir.
Roger? Sometimes in life, not sometimes, a lot of times,
Often.
there are people with vision, and you don't. This is where I always dispel all this. Oh, Real Madrid, they're coming for your players, and Barcelona. I think there are many a time where a player is foolish to go to these clubs when you're at a very strong club, but that club is building something. Sometimes the potential or the project warrants the cause. Why do I say this? From a personal point of view, I remember once working with a very, very well established and comfortable establishment, but deciding to see the potential of just going off and doing my own thing. That was a risk. It was a little bit, I mean, it's a totally different scenario. But the point I'm making is that as a player like Cole Palmer probably never felt fully appreciated by Pep Guardiola.
He did,
And
and the kid he knows how good he can become. He knows.
well, he probably doesn't, because I think there's still a lot more to come from him. But he has confidence in his ability, and well, it's the same thing as knowing, really, isn't it? So maybe I'm
That's
just stealing your own
just
words,
go ahead,
but
Bobby. I
you know,
like you so much. Well, oh my gosh,
he
just go ahead.
yeah, I mean, it's
Roger, you're laughing,
potato,
right?
Yeah.
potato, I mean, tomato, tomato, potato, whatever. It's the same thing. But
Yeah.
he has that confidence, and he probably looked at the Chelsea project, looked at the youth, the young players, the talent, and thought, you know what, I'm better off going the distance and building with this lot than risking being put on the bench. Look at the competition in front of me. De Bruyne. What's that guy that they nearly lost to? Is it Silva? Bernardo Silva. All these
Foden.
people. It's almost an impossible task, and it will
Yeah.
never be an appreciated task until you're the finished article. Whereas at the moment, you can see Enzo, that he's beginning to find his foot. He's becoming a boss in his own right. Maybe that's why they attempted trying to give him the captain's armband, and he declined because, look, I don't speak English. I'm not ready, and quite rightly so. That in itself shows the team
Mature.
spirit, and he
Yeah,
probably got that off Thiago Silva.
for sure.
Now, which is the mature element in the team. Now you can see the team responding to him. You can see the team even responding to Palmer at this early stage, his dictates of play. You can see the team, slowly beginning to respond to the movement and the defensive attributes of Caicedo. This is a team in the making. And anybody that knows anything about football, you see, the difference between Chelsea this season and last season, even when we are messing up, so to speak, is that one, when we mess up, we never really mess up. You can just see that it's immaturity, in lack of revision amongst each other, and the fact that we are a project in the making. And when you look at the individual players, you can have nothing but hope and respect for the talent. You know, people talk about Ukuchukwu. I look at this kid and I'm like, wow, okay, he's just starting. Look at the physicality. You can imagine this guy in another 5 years. He'll be a giant there. You look at people like, who else? You just keep naming them. The only one that people seem to always never see the hope in, but I still see hope in him, is Gallagher.
Yeah.
You know, nobody, you know, because he's such an unfancied player. If his name was Galagagino, maybe he would be more fancied.
Well,
I don't
B,
know. You know, I don't know. You know,
that's
and
funny.
he's not a relative. I always come out smoking in his corner, but I just feel that I feel him. I know his worth, and his worth doesn't have to be that he is the best player, but we need that type of player. And there's so much potential in this team. This is why Palmer chose to be with us, and I'm
I
so glad
believe
he
so
did,
too. Can I just
because
quickly add?
he is our De Bruyne
Uh,
replacement for sure.
yeah, Richard,
Yeah,
quickly,
yeah,
please, so
yeah.
that I can
I know.
catch up and round off.
I,
Yeah.
I, I be- I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm hoping. Listen, we have alternatives for each position, but I fear that without Enzo, I think there is no heir apparent. But I think Palmer could substitute an occasion when we need to rest him. I think he could, shall we say, distribute the ball just as well as Enzo in some regards. I'm not. Maybe
Yeah,
that's too deep a line.
he can start in a deeper position, which was why we argued the other day. He can actually play that role, Enzo role, in the absence of Enzo.
Yeah, I think he's the only one that comes to mind naturally. I'm talking about that can actually fulfill that role to a certain extent. I really do.
All right, thank you so much, Roger. I think he can fulfill that role very well, actually. And actually, I don't want to go to the extent of comparing him and Enzo, but I
Yeah,
like him
exactly.
now more than Enzo, in my opinion. Is this early the season? Why can club sack Poch and assign Hansi Flick? No, Hansi Flick would be worse in the Premier League if you don't know, in my opinion. And they're not gonna sack him now. Poch is already under
No,
pressure.
that ship has
He's
sailed.
yeah.
Forget it.
He stood all games yesterday. Coaches need some pressure to perform. To perform. Holidays are over. I think you can argue that he doesn't want things to get worse. Poch should be sacked before Ten Hag. I don't agree with you. Ten Hag should be sacked 10 days ago, actually. Coach, a hypothetical question for the panel. I don't think we have time to answer any question now. I'm already late to picking up my boy.
Sorry,
How
Coach.
many good managers are available in the market right now? I know United fans are listening. They could go for Poch. They could go for Porter, or maybe Frank Lampard. Those are good managers. I hope that answered your question. Flick counter Zidane. Zidane will not do well in the Premier League. Flick will not counter well. And with young players counter well, a lot of running for him. Even Lampard or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer are available. I don't want those two names you just mentioned. In my opinion, United versus Chelsea will be battle of the P4S. Okay, let's see. Parma is what CFC fans dreamt Havas to be. Plus a pair of still, whatever you mentioned there. United versus Chelsea can prove to be the last game of Poch. I think this game. Even those games will lose. I'm seeing progress, and I've always said that.
Your trolls are lobbing messages now.
Yeah,
Hit the channel.
I don't, the guy's not the troll. He's just kidding. Down know who he's. Don't worry, Bobby. Sacking on the line. Yeah, it will never happen. Rastaman Palmer with that Jamaican, whatever you say there. Yeah, watch out, Conte. That's a praise. You know, Roger. He's praising him. If Poch loses to both Sports and City, will he be sacked? No, he will not. And I'm not reading any of your messages. Caribbean Rastaman Palmer balling off at the breach. I like him so much. I like that kid. He's an excellent signing for us. I think if we lose heavily, he might be. Let's see. We'll find out. We're not the owners here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people, before we call it a day. Even Palmer is young, and there will be ups and downs. There will be. Yeah, he's not going to be performing consistently like that. Sometimes we may see a drop of form, but right now I'm enjoying it. But we won't lose heavily because Poch will play 11 defenders. Okay. Simeone, you'll say, are the only managers that can take on this task and maintain standards, and we all know it. Yes, the football will be ugly, but yeah, we'll get results. Let's see. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. AB, I haven't say hello to you, and I want to say thank you to everybody and to those who was on the panel. Jersey was on the panel here. Uncle Justice was on the panel. Bobby here. Tobeho was on the panel. And Roger, thank you so much for finding the time to join. And thank you to Constantine Dante. Ciao to you too, Jesse. Nice to see you. And the blue to forget. Much love to you too, brother. Adebayo Makunju, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for joining. Palma has that athleticism, white intelligence. Wow, that's some comment right there, man. With that, I want to say thank you to all of you. I appreciate you all finding the time to join the show. See you guys next time, and apologies if I miss your name. God bless us all, and bye.